And hello, everybody. Welcome to this night. Welcome to Spotting. Because we see what you're doing. I got a big glass of beer and another half still to go. Because this is not... this is the first that time of the month that I haven't actually looked... Today, throughout the day, I was just like, oh god, I don't want to do this show. Not because I dislike any of the ladies here. It's just this topic. This is just awful, and it's awful on top of awful on top of awful on top of awful, and it just gets worse and worse the more you look into it, and all I was doing today was looking into it, and it's just like, ugh. How are you guys?
Yeah.
About the same.
Yeah, I was like, no. This is going to be like, I'll have to restrain myself from screaming after every second line. Like, oh, yeah, something like that.
I'm not looking.
Yep.
Nikki,
So also with booze.
Nikki,
in
how
a
about
mug.
you? Yes.
Oh, I'm okay. I'm a little bit on the lower end of the spectrum. I'm starting to get a little bit of like depression and stuff due to like losing my job because of the COVID thing.
Did
So
you
I'll probably
lose your
be
job, or
a
did
lot
you get laid
quieter.
off, or did you, what happened?
Oh, I got laid off, yeah.
Oh.
I still, it's still gone, and
Yeah.
just a lot of stress that goes with that, but
Well, I imagine
yeah,
your new
I'm
place
a
was
little bit...
Yeah,
closed.
we feel ya. We feel ya.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to like get in the sun and kind of get ahead of the downward spiral, but it's still there.
It's a struggle,
Well,
right?
if you need
I'm
any
okay though.
help,
I mean, yeah,
if you need any help, just
I'm
let us
mostly
know.
just like trying to focus on other things and trying to focus on maybe trying to get a job until the everything else goes through. But it's just like, I don't know. It's so weird that like the years that you really like feel like you're about to get back on top of everything just kind of crumbles. It's kind of a selfish thing to think about, but honestly,
Oh
like,
no, I know that feel. It's like
No, it's not.
you think you're doing
Completely
good. You think you're doing good, and then it's just life is just like, go fuck yourself. And it's just the world,
Yeah.
right? It has nothing to do with you. It just has to do with all the garbage that's been going on, and it's just garbage on top of garbage, and things are just getting more and more difficult, which is kind of ties into what we're talking about. Because we're gonna be dipping into politics here, and it's gonna suck. Because everything sucks.
Yeah, a New
I'm so
Zealander
grumpy
dipping
today.
into US politics. An Indian/New Zealander dipping into US politics. That sounds, yeah. And a Canadian, yep.
There is nothing.
Honestly,
Sorry.
I like the outside perspective. I think it's good to hear what people from other places think. We're very wrapped up here in our own ideals and the way we perceive things. We forget that there's a whole world out there that's seeing it from the outside.
I've
And
been
I think
tempted.
it's valuable.
I've been tempted multiple
plus
times.
there's the programming.
Yeah.
It's like the programming and stuff that we get as like elementary school students, like we're the winners, so we wrote the history books, but Canada per se and of course India, they have a different perspective and they have a different telling of history.
Oh, you don't want to talk
than
to me
we were
about the
told,
way
so.
Canada teaches World War II.
Oh.
Does that need to be another show?
I mean, that would be a cool segment if we did like a women in history type thing and talked about World War II.
Ooh,
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that would
If-
be cool,
if
actually.
s-
That would be
It's
very
just-
cool.
Absolutely.
I'll bring in all the witches from the past.
Seance them into the stream.
Fuck
Yeah.
I mean, that's
if-
all I care about.
If somebody wants to do the digging specifically for World War II, I'm totally down, but I am not a history buff, so I feel like I would do a very bad job.
There was a I think an Austrian or Swedish woman who she would seduce Nazi officers and then like lead them into the woods and like kill them, and it was I forgot her name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
But-
think she just passed away recently. There was a thing about her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yo, I remember
Yeah.
that. She
Beautiful.
was badass.
Yeah.
she
Oh,
was.
yeah.
That is solid.
There's a lot of cool. There's also another woman that recently died. The woman who wrote by hand the programming for the Apollo mission. A black
Oh
woman.
yeah. Did she? No, there was two different women who did that too. There was I'm thinking of the Jewish girl too. But yeah, there's a movie about her or a series, and it's called Hidden Figures, and I really desperately want to watch that.
I think there's definitely places we could go with that. If people are interested, we could do maybe like a once a month special or something. Anyway, shall we get started on this? I'll play the clip for you guys, and this is just a clip from, how long was that interview? An hour and a half?
Yeah, hour, 10 minutes, if I'm not wrong.
So yeah, trigger warning. So if anybody is going to be upset by some of this, and it is upsetting, so trigger warning for this entire episode. This is going to piss people off, and they're right to be pissed off. So I'm going to play this for the outside. I'm sorry you ladies won't be able to hear it, but I'm going to let the whole clip play. And here we go.
Hello and welcome to the Katie Halper Show. I'm about to play an excerpt from an interview that I did with Tara Reade. The full episode will be up shortly. As a warning, Tara discusses sexual assault during this interview. Tara was one of 8 women to accuse Joe Biden of some form of inappropriate touching last spring, after Nevada politician Lucy Flores alleged that the vice president inappropriately touched her during her run for Congress. Tara told journalists that in 1993, when she was a staff assistant to then Senator Biden, he put his hands on her shoulders and rubbed his fingers up and down her neck. But Tara says there's more to her story, and she considered telling it last spring. But after coming forward and being smeared as a Russian agent and being doxxed, she did not. We now know from Ryan Grimm's 324 article on The Intercept, Tara did try to come forward once again in January of 2020. Tara turned to Time's Up, the nonprofit dedicated to helping women in the post-Me Too world tell their story. But Time's Up, Ryan Grimm reports, was concerned such a political story involving a potential presidential candidate could affect their nonprofit status. So here, Tara finally tells the rest of the story that she hasn't been able to tell in the past. Not surprisingly, there are no witnesses to Tara's story of alleged assault, but Tara's brother and Tara's close friend, both of whom I spoke to, recall Tara telling them about the incident at the time. Here is an excerpt. I'll be releasing the full interview shortly, and this opens with Tara describing a superior calling her into her office to ask her to do an errand. So she says that she
called me in and said, I want you to take this to Joe. He wants it. He wants you to bring it. Hurry. And I said, okay. And it was a gym bag. She said, take the gym bag. She called it athletic bag. And, she said he was down towards the Capitol and he'll meet you. And so I went down and I was heading down towards there. And he was at first talking to someone. I could see him at a different distance, and then they went away. And then we were in like the side. It was like the side area, and he just said, "Hey, come here, Tara." And then I handed him the thing, and he greeted me. He remembered my name. And then we were alone, and it was the strangest thing. There was no like exchange really. He just had me up against the wall.
Can I have that light, please?
I was wearing
Yes,
like a skirt and business skirt, but I wasn't wearing stockings. It was kind of a hot day that day, and I was wearing heels. And I remember my legs had been hurting from the marble, of the Capitol, like walking. And so I remember that kind of stuff. I remember like I was wearing a blouse, and he just had me up against the wall, and the wall was cold. And I remember it happened all at once. The gym bag, I don't know where it went. I handed it to him, it was gone. And then his hands were on me and underneath my clothes. And and then he went down my skirt, but then up inside it. And he penetrated me with his fingers, whatever. And he was kissing me at the same time, and he was saying something to me. He said several things, and I can't remember everything he said. I remember a couple of things. I remember him saying first, before, like as he was doing it, "Do you want to go somewhere else?" And then him saying to me, when I pulled away, he got finished doing what he was doing, and I kind of was pulled back, and he said, "Come on, man, I heard you liked me." And that phrase stayed with me because I kept thinking what I might have said, and I can't remember exactly if he said I thought or if I heard, but it's like he implied like that I had done this, like I don't know. And for me, it was like everything shattered in that moment, because I knew like we were alone, it was over, right? He wasn't trying to do anything more, but I looked up to him. He was like my father's age. He was this champion of women's rights in my eyes, and I couldn't believe it was happening. It seemed surreal. And I just felt sick because when he pulled back, he looked annoyed. And he said something else to me that I don't want to say. And then he said, I must have looked shocked, and he grabbed me by the shoulders. I don't know how I looked, but I must have looked something, because he grabbed me by the shoulders and he said, "You're okay, you're fine, you're okay, you're fine." And then he walked away and he went on with his day. And what I remember next is being in the Russell building, like where the big windows are, and the stairs by myself. And my body, I was shaking everywhere and it was cold all of a sudden. And I don't know, I felt like I was shaking just everywhere. And I was trying to grasp what had just happened and what I should do or what I should say. But I knew it was bad because he was so angry. Like when he left, like I could feel, you know how when you know someone's angry, they don't necessarily have to say anything. Like he smiles when he's angry, and you can just feel it emanating from him. Like,
do you want to share that thing that you said you don't like? You said like I don't want to say what he said. That thing he said to you.
Yeah, I guess I could.
I mean, you don't have to.
It's okay. It's just it's almost like giving a weapon to them.
How so?
Well, it's like I don't want them to know how much it hurt. I don't, you know, I don't want him to know when I don't know. But
that, yeah, like that you remembered it?
Yeah, just I don't know. But yeah, I can say it. Yeah, there was something he said that I didn't want to say, and I didn't want to say it because it's the thing that stays in my head over and over, and it's a thing that kind of stayed with me over the years. But he said, when he had me against the wall after I pulled away, and he had said, "Hey, you know, come on, I heard you liked me," and I knew he was angry right after he took his finger. He just like pointed at me and he said, "You're nothing to me." And then he just looked at me and he goes, "You're nothing, nothing." And then I must have reacted. I think he only said it twice. I said, but I just heard the word nothing. And I must have reacted because that's when he took me by the shoulders and he said, you know, "You're okay, you're fine, you're okay." But then afterwards, like, it kept replaying in my head. And like last April, when all that stuff came out, I got really, really sad about it. And the thing that I remember most, almost more than the assault itself, was just being told I was nothing. And he was right. That's how people treated me. That's how office treated me. And I have no platform. I am no one. And to him, I'm nothing. So yeah. So if people want to know why women don't come forward, that's a good example of why.
Whoops. Wrong way. And there we go. So that's where we're at on that one. It's not an easy story to hear, and it's not a pleasant situation to even think about, let alone consider, and let alone that somebody had to go through this.
It's so it numbs your mind, because you have heard so many women go on the same track on how they explain the predatory behavior, the suddenness, how you get attacked when you're least expecting it from the person, and how it's blurry, but some of the things do stand out and stay with them forever. And how in the end the predator ends up blaming them by nitpicking on something they did.
Well, he immediately went into control mode, right? He went into his ego got hurt, so he went, "You're nothing to me." And then as soon as she reacted in like a potential, she's gonna say something to somebody, he immediately went into, "You're fine, you're fine, you're fine. You're okay."
Denying denying that she might, whether that she might be shocked or disturbed by what happened, or altogether hurt by what happened at that point. And it sounded so familiar, like when she went on in the end and said, "I kept thinking,
what did
you don't want to give them a weapon. You don't want to give them a weapon. You don't want to let them know that they got you." And so it raises a hair at the back of my neck, like, and the going through that incident again and again, trying to find out what they did that might have triggered it, where when there's nothing they did that might have triggered it, nothing. And it's so sad that this happens over and over again, and the victim ends up taking all the blame and absorbing all the blame, whereas the one who did it just goes on with their
to go run for president.
Just like, yeah, and run for president. Oh,
maybe.
Yay.
I mean, with this information, hopefully not. Realistically, at this point, this is a horrible thing to happen to a woman. Period. On top of that, now it's part of politics. Her name is completely unimportant. It doesn't matter who she is. Who she is completely irrelevant. It just matters that what she says is true or not. And there are receipts for this. She filed reports back in the 80s. They just disappeared, guess where? Into Joe Biden's backlog.
Whoa. So she did try to...
She tried to file...
go through the system to get some form of justice.
Multiple times, yeah. So in the 80s...
times.
Yeah, in the 80s she was trying to file formal complaints about the harassment that was going on, and then eventually she started talking about her own. Eventually. It took her a while, but eventually she was like... She wrote out a report for her own. It went into the report office, but this was the 80s. And the report, she tried to track down that paperwork that she filled out, and they were like, "Oh, well, we don't know. It probably went back to Joe Biden's office."
Oh, wow. So that's the thing, right? Who do you go to in those times when it's your boss, right? Who do you go to? And kudos to her for coming out of it. She's a survivor, but not getting justice, and then that guy going on, and that guy not acknowledging it at all, that ever happened.
You want to know what Biden has said about this kind of stuff, about women who have come out against him? I've got the quote if you would like it.
Yes, please.
By all means.
Let's see. I don't think... Oh, no, hold on, wrong one. That's his policies on abortion. Hold on one second.
We can have another...
Wait, his new policies or his old policies?
He doesn't have
the policies where he was trying to deny women, or the new ones that he's trying to say that he agrees with it now?
So he hasn't answered that. We'll get there. His response to these anybody speaking out against him has been, "Not once do I believe that I have acted inappropriately in my career," and that's like a bit of a pseudo quote. I kind of made it a little bit easier to understand.
Paraphrasing.
It's a bit of a paraphrase, but that's basically what he's saying. He's like, "No, I was never inappropriate. I never said anything that isn't okay."
What his definition of inappropriate is. You can. What does he mean by inappropriate?
Quote, "I'm not sorry for any of my intentions. I'm not sorry for anything that I've ever done."
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a direct quote. That's the direct quote.
So what was the question? Did a reporter ask him a question, or was it an article, or is it one of his speeches?
It was an article. It was an article from 2 News. Joe Biden, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the quote is from one of his, when he was on stage, but I'm not sure where from. This is just from the article, and the article is titled, "Joe Biden says, quote, not sorry, end quote, for his intentions. Which is a nice way of putting that. He's not sorry for his actions either.
Yeah, he's avoiding the action itself and putting it on, well, this is what I intended. I did not intend anything wrong, therefore I'm not guilty of anything.
Oh, yeah.
Intention, but he did also say... He did also say, I'm not sorry for anything I've ever done, which is the action. So he's not sorry for that either.
Mm-hmm.
And Christy makes Santiago makes a very good point in her video as well as in the chat. The news isn't talking about this. No mainstream media has talked about this on like regular TV news yet. This story dropped 6 days ago. Why? If this was anybody else, they would be all over it, but they're not over it with Biden.
Oh yeah, when it was Donald Trump, it was like, oh my god. But now it's Joe Biden, so it's like, yeah, we need a winning candidate. Let's just brush it under the carpet, whatever, you know. And like, seriously?
Because this is gonna look good for the Democrats.
Same, please, Democrats. Like, come on.
This should disqualify him.
Yeah, this is a very good chance for this was or is still a very good chance for Democrats to come back and say we will not tolerate this kind of history, because they almost ate up Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton ate up Donald Trump. Every time they had any town hall debates or anything like that, she would bring up Donald Trump's behavior towards women. So they should walk the talk now. It's time to walk the talk. And they're going to lose a big chunk of their voters, let me tell you. Then who are just going to either not vote or they might switch to Republican. I don't know if they can switch right now, but yeah.
I want to get Sweet in here. You're trying to say something. Go for it.
Sorry.
Oh, no. Actually, she said what I was thinking, pretty much.
We're all just outraged.
Oh my gosh. But with the silence from the media, it does seem like that, unfortunately, that look at how they were with Kavanaugh, if you followed any of that. That was explosive all over the place, and everybody was talking about it.
Still not fucking put in.
Yeah. But with it being so quiet, everything I'm reading is just in the back of the background on Twitter, or someone might send me an article here and there, but I really didn't know too much about it. With like I said, with Trump, we went through everybody who accused him, and he has a lot more accusations to go through. But I think that people are afraid to be hypocrites. They know that if they speak out, they're in danger of either going against what they think their audience wants them to feel or think about a particular candidate. But if they stand up and say this is wrong, if they're wrong and do that. But if they don't, and if they defend him, they're going to have a whole other wave of people.
Well, you run into a really interesting political problem. And I say interesting, I mean complete garbage. If the Democrats are pushing Joe Biden and they're trying to brush this under the rug right now, what do you think Trump's going to do with all this information? You think he's just going to ignore it? He's going to hemorrhage that. He is going to just keep stabbing. Joe is an awful candidate. People are like, well, he's kind of Republican-ish. No, so maybe he'll get the people that Trump dropped. No, he basically is a Republican in Democrat clothing. He follows pretty much the Democratic line. And the only thing that's giving him any credence right now is how close he was tied to Obama. How amazing would it be for Obama to fucking come out and say something about this and be like, I'm going to endorse not Biden.
I mean, at least to address it in some way. And granted, I know people are still looking to Obama for his thoughts on things, but it's like, I know he's not president anymore, obviously. But people still look to him as an example. There's a whole culture out there.
Biden right now is riding the Democratic tailcoats of Obama. And if Obama was to come out and say something about this and be like, no, this is not okay, he's a bad candidate, then he loses pretty much all the credibility that he's got. And on top of that, he's not going to be good against Trump. Trump is all about the attack, the attack, the attack, the attack. And what's he got against Biden? Biden Biden has lied about everything. He lied about being a civil rights activist. He lied about what he won't tell people what his current thoughts are on women's rights, because his old women's rights were like, I don't think abortion is a right. The only reason he ever changes is because he has to. And on top of that, he I lost it. What was it? It's gone.
A brain fart.
You're on such a good roll.
I was on such a good roll. Oh, because because he's lying about being a civil rights activist. He's essentially doing. He's basically got stolen valor. He's trying to take the good things that people have done for people in the past in civil rights, and that's what she said. He was a champion for women, as he assaulted me. Great, cool, thanks, guys.
Wow.
You think Trump's just gonna let that go? Right? You think Trump's just gonna let that go? Absolutely not. And who are you trying to not have instead? Bernie Sanders, who's actively voted, pushed through policies, has been successful, and was a civil rights activist against Biden. Elizabeth Warren kicked Biden's ass when he tried to put some shit through while she was still a law professor. Kicked his ass! Like, just from logic. Just go look that shit up. Go look that clip up. It's beautiful. And you think he is already in his good days getting his ass kicked by Warren? You really think he's gonna be able to beat Trump? Fuck no. He's an awful candidate. He's never gonna beat Trump. Trump's gonna shit all over him. At least Trump is funny. Like, every so often, Trump's already going after Biden, and he's not wrong. He's got some decent points about how, let's see what Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, had to say about credit unions and the bank. And that thing he was doing over in, where was that? Hunter Biden was sitting on the board of a oil company.
Right. But that's, going after, like, what his son did, though, it gets...
Except the thing was his son was holding a position in a company that he had no business holding that to, and at the same time, policies were changing to benefit that company. Trump is right. There is corruption in the Biden family, 100%. It's there. You can see it. This isn't like some hyperbole. Trump is correct about this. And the thing is he's already on it. Trump ran on a platform of draining the swamp. Joe Biden is the swamp. He
but he's also the swamp. So it's like you have the swamp monster talking about the swamp.
Well, I mean, I would probably
what better way to drain it than from the inside, right? But
but the thing is that whether we like it or not, Trump has changed the game, and he is a different kind of monster. I don't think he's the same kind of monster. He's not a politician. He's not. He's a businessman, and he's a shitty one, and he's fucking everything up for everybody, and it sucks. However, he is not the type of politician that he was talking about when draining the swamp. Biden is. And that's just going to strengthen Trump's base. And the Democrats are going to piss off all of the younger people who want to vote for Sanders, which is 80% of the younger people. And he's going to piss off all the women.
Yeah. And it's, people were so... again, up in arms about things that he said and did with regards to women and girls. Again, all valid things in my opinion. I think they were definitely things worth addressing, and that maybe should have been looked at a little bit more, given a little bit more weight as to somebody we want representing the country. But I digress. That outrage is gone now. Nobody's talking about that. Like you said, now that it's somebody on their side, and I hate that. And that's, again, something a lot of people more and more are catching on to and hating about our system is that stuck with the blue or red side.
Yeah.
And, most people aren't falling on either one of those sides anymore.
One of the things is that Biden ran before. He had to drop out because of his complete shit, garbage, lying behavior. He is currently telling the same lies. How does that disqualify him then, but not disqualify him now? Is it because Trump is worse? Is he? Trump talked about just, you know, if you really want girls to like her, you just grab them by the pussy. Joe Biden actually did it.
Well, yeah.
Joe Biden took Trump's advice.
Right.
But Trump
actually did it too.
So did he. Right. So the Democrats are going to force other Democrats to vote between two rapists.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Welcome to America.
Why? I don't understand this. Maybe it's because I'm from another country, but this blows my fucking mind. Because their whole reasoning is like, oh, well, Biden will quote-unquote do better than Bernie will against Trump. But you can already see that he's already not doing better because of Trump's rhetoric that's already going around. So if that's already happening, you already know that Bernie is going to do better than Biden, period. Because he's got the energy, he's actually showing up to rallies, he's got backing, he's got numbers.
He yells at everybody.
You throw him with Warren and you want to see the shit show that's about to happen, it'll be glorious. A glorious shit show. But if you put Biden in that position, Biden's gonna get fucked. Super fucked. They're forcing this decision and saying, well, you know, if you don't want Trump, then you have to take our candidate, so therefore vote for Biden. Well, why wouldn't you put Bernie in that position? Why are we kowtowing to the old people that want this fuck who's gonna do shit, whereas Biden has straight up said that, well, if I get in, nothing's really gonna change. Oh, great.
That's what they want, though. That's literally what established Democrats want. They don't want anything to change. They want it to be the same. They don't want a progressive candidate that's gonna improve people's lives. Like, it's really pissing me off.
Why are they fucking their own base up? Because they're fucking over the young people, and they're fucking over the young people who would be their base in the future. So they're fucking their party in the long run.
They hope that nobody notices, then they can hold that over you. How else do you control people and get the same power? I mean, both sides do it. They keep certain things. I mean, this is the idea: is what people are worried about, or what they're looking at, is saying it feels like they're keeping things bad on purpose in some ways to have us be afraid, to have us want and to need, so they can constantly be like, "Hey, we're trying to give you these things." Carrot. Yeah, there's always a carrot.
Well,
and if there's no carrot, then what are people going to do? People are starting to, I hate to use the term wake up to that, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. I would love to see,
woke.
I would love to see if Biden gets the nomination for the Democratic Party. Because keep in mind, everybody's talking as if Biden's already won. He's not won yet. If this shit gets out and people actually start talking about what a problem Biden actually would be in the fact that he will lose to Trump. He will lose. He's garbage to go against Trump. He will lose.
Absolutely.
I think people are counting on the whole thing of blue no matter who. You know, people who
that's
just
what
want
I'm
Trump
saying.
Out,
but if that's the argument, why would you not pick a better candidate who already has a chance against Trump anyway? If you take Warren or you take Sanders and you put one of them in that position instead of Biden, not only do you have a better chance of winning, but you have a better chance of winning without pissing off your entire base.
That's just it. I don't know that the entire base is pissed off.
From what
they seem to be supportive, you know, in polls and whatnot. And
do they? The polls that I've seen haven't been. The polls that I've seen
It depends on the ones that are actually voting. I know a lot of people that say, "Hey, I'm into Sanders," but at the same time, I'm not going to vote if he's not. And it's like there's this breakdown of some people are like, "Oh, it has to be my way," or "I'm not participating in the system."
I would be
Other people are on the blue no matter whose side.
I'm kind of okay. Hold on, we got a super fat from
And there are people.
I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna flip out forever. I'm gonna lose my damn mind.
There were people who were avid Bernie fans that because he didn't get the nomination, they voted for Trump in protest.
They'll do it again too. They'll fucking do it again too.
They'll do it again.
I mean, Trump still lost the popular vote though.
He did, yeah.
Godless scummer.
But it would have been a larger.
Was it 1.4 million people didn't vote for Trump?
It was a lot.
1.4.
3.4 was it?
Godless Scummer for 5 said the choice between Trump and Biden is like having a choice between syphilis and
gonorrhea.
No, chloria.
I can't see where he said that.
Cholera. Chlamydia. That does not say chlamydia.
Cholera?
Cholera, that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you, cholera.
Ooh.
Oh, I found it. Yep, cholera. I know medical words.
I'll lose my damn mind about this forever because my response to this is that's a garbage argument. If you're gonna go with the argument of blue no matter who, then pick a better candidate. Because you're basically alienating a big chunk of your base and the future base of your party to say, yeah, but pick Biden though, who's just as bad as Trump. He's just as bad, specifically on women's issues, on civil rights issues, on on the actual topics, on the issues. He is as bad as Trump. He is a puppet. He will get he is so concerned about making friends with everybody or like kowtowing around Republicans. He bragged about making fucking not killing enough drug dealers and increasing the number of drug dealers that get killed. Like, what? Voting in Joe Biden is going backwards. And I mean backwards to, like, the 80s backwards. I'm talking, like, war on drugs backwards. Yeah. Like, this guy...
There are some issues, for sure,
this guy
in policy.
This guy to this day is still saying, well, you know, there's not enough research on whether or not weed is a gateway drug.
Right.
Can you fucking not? I am so disappointed in the American people. Not because I think they're voting wrong. I really do think that they are trying their best in a shit system. But the fact that you're laying down and putting up... You're America. You are the American people. You're the... Fuck you, hurricanes, I got guns. Why the fuck do you not give a shit? Why are you not doing any... I do not understand. If it were me, the Democratic Party, if they put Biden in, the Democratic Party, anybody who supports anybody other than Biden, should get up and walk the fuck out. Just get up and walk out. Just fucking leave. Just fucking leave and encourage Biden and Warren to run together as a third party. I shit you not. Because they're the ones who are going to be able to fucking beat Trump. Because fucking Sleepy Joe Biden isn't going to be able to do it because we're already making memes about him.
I assume you mean Sanders and Warren.
Sorry, yeah, Sanders and Warren.
Yeah, just... Yeah.
Sanders and
Warren.
In case
someone else didn't catch it. But
yeah, thank you. Egghead for 2 said, just want to stop by and say,
hello,
ladies. Would it be
possible for AOC to be his running mate?
Not yet. She's too young.
Oh, yeah.
Warren would be a good choice. Warren would be a good choice because we know she is don't take no shit from nobody. She don't give a fuck.
Oh my god, yeah, she was like on it that first Democratic debate, and then afterwards when she like straight up like didn't shake Bernie Sanders' hand, and I was like, whoa, that's a power move. Did you
see her? Go check out her talking to Biden, and then also look at her talking to the Goldman and Sachs guy. She's like, you deserve to be in jail. Fuck you. It's amazing. Oh she's fantastic. Yeah. Oh my god, lady boner. Holy shit, Elizabeth Warren. My god, she's such a power move. Vibrantly Brantley for 2 says, how do you have enough watch time for super chats? Magic? This channel's been around for a while, that's how. I also have a couple videos with over 1,000 views, so. Alright, so I'm going to play a clip because there's a really big issue in relation more to the story we were talking about. Because again, I knew we were going to get into politics. That's why I pulled a bunch of politics stuff. Mostly because I'm the one ranting about politics and I knew I would not be able to let it go.
I feel like there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I'm enjoying the perspective. Like I said, I want to hear what the Canadians think.
You
are all of Canada. Mind. You represent everyone.
Okay, so
I feel like Canadians have one of like the best opinions on American politics.
It was the Ukrainians. Yeah, you're right. Mostly because I don't. Oh, hey, it's me. I'm losing my mind.
It was you.
I recognize my voice.
Double trash.
I don't
Not the worst thing.
This shit confuses the hell out of me, because the American people are so good at being like, no, fuck you, that law's bullshit, I'm gonna tell you it's bullshit, and I'm gonna do it anyway. But when it comes to their politics, the people didn't want Trump, yet Trump is there. How? Like, I understand how the Electoral College works, and I get how that happened in a technical sense, but I don't understand how the American people just didn't be like, yeah, but fuck you, though. You see what I mean?
I mean, some people did.
All of them got voted out, to be fair.
It was, people were outraged. We had marches in the streets. It was a whole big thing when it happened.
Yeah, the Women's March.
Yeah, but, I mean, okay, everyone got out of their system, and they stopped caring as much. You get apathetic again, and you get discouraged quick when the results aren't as fast as your emotion.
Well, I guess that's fair,
I think that right now we're at like this incredible tipping point in history, and I think that the American people really need to take a note from the French system. Like, French people, they like I won't say riot, because it's not riots, it's protests. They protest a lot. If they feel like the government is getting a little bit too corrupt, they go to the streets. Like, by the thousands, the French government is scared of their people, and they work for their people. But for some reason, in the American system, America stopped caring about citizens, stopped working for their
well, they're not afraid of them
citizens
anymore. They're just not afraid of them anymore.
And we just kind of just roll over and just take it out the butt.
We don't organize the right way.
When did America become full of bitches? The hell?
I honestly think that the biggest thing right now holding people back from demonstrating in the streets is how much debt we have in this country. And like, that might not be a hot take, but I honestly think like I would have been at the water protests a couple of years ago, but I had a car to pay off, so I couldn't,
Oh, so you mean like everybody has a personal debt, and so because they have a personal debt, they have to be at their job, and because they have to be at their job because they can't pay this debt, they can't go out and protest. That's bullshit!
The system is
like
no, but
no, I don't mean it's a bad reason. Sorry, that's not what I mean by bullshit. I mean that fucking sucks.
It sucks.
I was about to be like, hey man,
no, this is so horrible.
That's really bad, but
that's
true.
exactly the reason why you should be out. Oh no, the
but
psyche.
Another big problem is the amount of divisiveness we have in the country too. People aren't organized on their feelings. If people agree on 10 different topics, but well, you're pro-life and I'm pro-choice, oh, we can't march together. We can't consolidate on anything. We got to be in our own separate bubble. That happens all the time. So we have all these little marches and these little groups doing things, but you don't get everybody together like they do in France and other countries, where everybody just picks an issue and more people get on board with it. People are way more concerned of, oh, is that Antifa over there? I can't participate in this because,
Do you think
I don't want to be
social
associated.
Media is kind of causing that a little bit?
I think that it helps and hurts. It's one of those things where with social media, you can reach a lot of people. You can talk about your feelings and your perspectives on topics, but organizing, it helps, but it also helps to push the fear and to call out the people that may be involved that you don't like. And it's really sad. I really don't know how that would be fixed. I think it's something that people need to internalize and come to their own realization that there are better ways to do things, and then not let these things affect them the same way. But it's educating people on what they're actually seeing and the better ways to participate.
I think realistically, the Democrats are going to be fucked. This is such a short-term decision if they choose. But this is the same thing. They're doing the same thing they did last election. Bernie was the best candidate, then they forced Hillary in. Bernie's the best candidate, and they're going to force Biden in. They're going to force in these centralist people who were for the Iraq war. The second time in a row. And it didn't work the first time. What the hell makes you think it's going to work the second time? Because he's a man? That's the only difference.
Sorry, I was away. Had a call from office. Yeah. And yes, I can understand Shashar's it's frustrating, right? That a candidate gets a pass over so many issues, and another candidate gets ignored on the same, when the candidate who's getting ignored is on the right track, actually. Just you are afraid of how the leaders in the market. I think so that's the only fear they have. Or else what fear do Democrats have to have Bernie Sanders as their candidate?
Do you guys remember the rallies where there was like the Warren group, the Bernie group, and then like the two people for Biden?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? Also, Smitty makes a really good point. The Democrats chose Trump over Bernie in 2016.
Yeah, they did. And
this
also,
has pissed me off so much today that I kind of want Trump to win just out of spite.
That's the problem.
I'm so mad today.
Yeah. You're not alone. That's the crazy thing.
And I shouldn't say that, but it's the female Democrat demographic. If they ignore what Biden has been,
they ignore them all the time.
If they ignore what Biden has been accused of, then they're the same as the Republican women who ignored what Trump was accused of. They will be in the same camp, and they can no longer claim that they fight for women's rights. It's done and dusted. Yeah. You are the same.
I would be disappointed. I would be disappointed in Bernie if he continues to support the Democratic Party after this. Because the thing is that he might support Biden out the gate if Biden gets the nomination, because Bernie's kind of a cool guy like that. But as soon as this information gets rolling, if Bernie doesn't drop his support immediately, and I would even say, given how, like, involved Bernie is in rights, if he doesn't start up another campaign again, Bernie's the one who's been able to pull in numbers. He's the one who's got the grassroots. He's got everything. Bernie's the one who's got fucking everything going for him. Biden can't. They've been keeping Biden away from going to do talks and rallies and shit because he can't talk to the Democratic people, because his response is, well, I guess you should vote for somebody else then. Or he's an asshole to them. And it's like, what? Yeah. Why would you want this as you've got somebody who is not charismatic to your base and doesn't give two shits, and then you're blaming Bernie for people not voting for Biden? Fuck off. Blame Bernie or blame Biden for the reason why people aren't voting for Biden. It's his responsibility.
Why not work on Biden? Work on your candidate. Make him realize that if he will have to come and contact people, he will have to answer difficult questions, and if he's not ready to do that, then he is not qualified to be a candidate for the Democrats.
His response to people asking about his son has been to challenge the honest person being like, hey, what was going on with that? To challenge them to do push-ups. What the
fuck? He is out of touch. He's out of touch.
He's unwilling to change too. He's unwilling to adjust to the times. You know, that's apparent because it's been brought to his attention before that, hey, sometimes you're a little bit too close to young girls. You know, maybe you shouldn't be leaning over them and doing all these things. It doesn't look good. It probably makes them uncomfortable. And his response
was, stop sniffing their hair.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh, well, I don't mean anything by it. And he never changes the behavior, and that's concerning. And even before these allegations came out, bring it back to Tara, it's obviously he was already exhibiting that kind of behavior that was creeping people out, that was raising red flags. But it was like, well, there's nothing solid to go on. Maybe he doesn't understand boundaries. He's a little too affectionate. But that can all be innocent.
What?
Potentially. So
no, what we know now with this.
No, not what he did to Tara. I'm saying that sometimes there are men and women out there that are just too close to people. They don't mean it in a sexual way. They just are.
Biden's just I agree. Biden's not one of them. I think we can safely say that this is not Biden, but I agree with you. There are men. Yeah, there are men who aren't so good at the personal space. and they kind of use being old as an excuse to not be good at the personal space, and they're never actually seriously reprimanded for it, and because they're never actually seriously reprimanded for it, they never change their behavior. And Biden has been doing this since probably before the 80s. At least the 80s he's been doing this. Though I have a clip from one woman who was about to go on stage to explain to people why she should be given the position that she was applying for, and one of the people she needed to convince was Biden, and backstage he's sniffing her hair.
Mm-hmm.
You creepy mother! He was the vice president!
But this is exactly why he was given the nickname Creepy Uncle Joe,
creepy
because
fuck!
I mean, so many people can go back to their childhood, and we had that uncle or cousin or somebody that was a little too close all the time.
Oh no, my hand would go
and
up
it was
like
always
that.
excused of, oh, they're just affectionate, they're just whatever. It's very easily wiped away when it's your family or somebody you respect. It's amazing.
Thing, right?
It's horribly amazing.
So much has
someone's status matters.
Yeah.
Well, you don't expect it. Right, you've got this person, like Tara said, you've got this person who's supposedly a champion for women's rights, who's in a position of political authority, and then all of a sudden they're sexually harassing you. You're not ready for that, and it turns your world upside fucking down.
And how similar is it to the other nice guys like we saw in the different DMs that would go over, where they say, hey, you're beautiful, I love you, I'm doing nice things for you, I'm a good guy. But then, you rejected me? Oh, you demonetized and watch my language. But
no, we already played somebody talking about their sexual assault.
Oh, that's
it's
right.
already demonetized. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah. So you cunt, you whore,
There's no way
they always go to insults, and anyone who's been through that, a lot of times that's a common thing that happens right after. Is it's 100% like it's your fault. You're not special enough. I would, blah, blah, blah.
You think I would care to come and approach you? Really?
Mm-hmm.
You're not that beautiful.
I was doing you a favor.
You're fat.
It's stuff like that. Yeah.
I love that you're fat.
You're fat.
You're ugly. You're
I
ugly.
like blondes anyway.
No one would look at you even twice.
No one's even gonna like you. Didn't you just hit on me? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Dude, I was fat when you walked over. What the fuck?
And not only, it's not even what they're talking about, even in these instances where they actually sexually assault you and still do that. So it's that.
Well, that's what Biden did. Immediately, as soon as his ego was hurt, he was immediately like, "You're nothing to me." And then when he was like, "Oh wait, shit, no, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine." You know when you hit your brother or your sister, and you're like, "Don't tell on me, don't tell on me, don't tell on me,
don't tell mom,
don't tell mommy."
You're okay. It's just a little blood. It's okay.
You're fine.
And just thinking, right? A president has to go into bipartisan, relationships with the opposition and everything. What do you think? How much, how much of that Joe will be able to?
Biden was already talking about taking a Republican as a running mate for vice president.
Ugh.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Wow.
Straight up and said that. Just said it.
He is a Republican. Okay, let's call
him.
He's
a Republican. He's not a Democrat. He's a Republican dressed in blue with a red shirt underneath.
You can catch both sides
ridiculous.
With him.
Yeah. And it's so funny that this guy refuses
to learn.
This
Bloomberg either.
This Me Too era has been happening since 5 to 6 years now. And this guy didn't decide, let me just go and Google and maybe do a Google research on what's the Me Too.
He's too old for Google. He doesn't know how it works.
Oh, okay. Maybe ask one of his staff to do that for him and bring
one of the staff he's assaulting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Hey, bitch, Google this while I stick my finger in you.
Yeah. Oh, girl. It's yeah. That's what I'm saying. He refuses to learn. Yeah.
Fuck this shit. I'm grumpy today. All right. I didn't want to have this conversation.
I'm so woke.
I'm so mad.
Nobody wants to have this conversation, and that's why we're having it.
Pretty much.
Because nobody else.
Nobody wants to talk about it.
So it's he refuses to learn. That's another thing. He's like, I'm not sorry. I didn't behave inappropriately. buddy, just maybe go and talk to your ladies, like on your team, and you might find out. But I'm just thinking that he might even make that creepy.
I
People
would.
go, oh yeah,
I would be amazed.
oh yeah, I want to know how you were like.
Oh, I'd love to have that
Creep
conversation.
I would be amazed for all of this to actually hit mainstream media and for Biden's wife to be like, yo, fuck you. That'd be beautiful. You called me your sister, you dipshit.
Oh. I mean,
not-
she didn't seem too unhappy about being mistaken as a sister in the first place. And we all know how political marriages go. I mean, Hillary's still with, what's his face? Bill.
What's his face?
Oh my god. Yeah, by the way, guys, don't forget to share this and let people know this is going on, because realistically, people need to talk about this shit, and like nobody who's big is talking about this shit. So please talk about this shit. Like I don't even think In Time has gotten this story yet. And if any place is an appropriate place to discuss, exactly. If any place is a proper place to be discussing like Joe Biden's history and politics, that's the place to be doing it. I don't know why the fuck we're doing it here. This shit pissed me off.
Yeah, where's Mikey? Damn it, we need Mikey. That's
Mikey would be great to talk. I would love to have Mikey and Nick talking about this with maybe Sweet and Manya there, or maybe Nick, like any of you guys there. Probably not me, because I will lose my shit.
But we love when you lose your shit.
Yeah, but I lose my shit. I lose my shit
so
here.
Someone
Listen,
needs to.
I behave myself.
Goblin Queen losing her shit.
I behave. This is why I wear this shirt. Look, the Hulk is right on the top.
Yes, the She-Hulk.
Okay, I usually behave myself on other people's channels. Like, I'm pretty well behaved on Caffeine Corner most of the time. And when I show up on, like, Drunken Peasants, I can let loose a little bit more because that's what's expected on that channel. This is my channel. I'm gonna make fat jokes. Fuck you guys.
Go on, here's fat for you to make a joke.
Oh, right? Yo, I got that going on. I got Beat Saber now. I'm gonna be fucking... I don't work at all this anger.
Here, look at my double chin. The Ricky Gervais.
Thick. Okay, I'm gonna play this clip because we need to talk a little bit more about Tara's situation in particular. We're not gonna play her story or any more to her story for now, but I do want to talk about the issues that about Time's Up response, because Time's Up is the Me Too movement of helping so essentially when Tara's situation happened, the steps were not in place. This got serious all of a sudden. The steps weren't in place for her to make a report properly because nobody gave a shit. Well, now we're trying to put those steps in place so that way you can properly report your boss. You can properly report the President of the United States. It doesn't matter who they are, because that should not be relevant in prosecuting, in searching for justice, in getting your story heard, etc., etc. Now, as we know, Tara was not listened to. People are now asking, like, well, why didn't you bring this up sooner? She tried. She reached out to news outlets. She reached out locally. She reached out to different campaigns, and the only one that responded to her was a letter, which was like just a standard header letter from Warren to contact her local area. So she didn't get a response, and it's only now that it's actually, not that she hasn't been trying to tell people, it's just that only now that it's actually caught on. So I want to talk a little bit, because one of the places that should be helping her is the Time's Up people. That's their job. They're a nonprofit to do that. But now they're catering, and I'm going to play the clip from Christy Santiago because she makes a very, very good point. So I'm sorry you guys are going to have to watch from the outside, but here we go.
Be skeptical of American exceptionalism. She hoped that Time's Up would be able to help her push back against the attacks she knew would be coming. By February, she learned from a new conversation with Time's Up, which also involved director Sharon Tijani, that no assistance could be provided because the person she was accusing, Biden, was a candidate for federal office, and assisting a case against him could jeopardize the organization's non-profit status. Bullshit. On February 11th, the program director wrote to Reade that she, quote, wanted to let you know that after our conversation, I talked further with our director, Sharon Tijani, about our ability to offer funding or public relations support in your case. Unfortunately, the fund's decision remains the same. Please know how much I appreciate your courage in speaking out and appreciate what you shared over the phone, that you are speaking out so that your daughter and other young people can start their careers free of harassment, end quote. When reached for comment by Intercept, the program director, Reade, had spoken to referred questions to an NWLC spokesperson, Marcia Patrick, who said that the organization has legal constraints, quote, as a nonprofit 501c3 charitable organization, the National Women's Law Center is restricted in how it can spend its funds, including restrictions that pertain to candidates running for election, Patrick responded. When asked why the organizing declined to provide funds to Reade, quote, our decision on whether or not to provide certain types of support to an individual should not be interpreted as our validation or doubt of the truthfulness of the person's statements. Regardless, our support of workers who come forward regarding workplace sexual harassment remains unwavering. But by February, Reade learned that no assistance would be provided because Biden was a candidate for federal office. And assisting a case against him, Time's Up, could jeopardize their nonprofit. That was the story. That's what she had. She couldn't go any further. Ruling out federal candidates marks off limits any member of Congress running for re-election, right? I mean, that's what that rule would be. Well, right, as well as President Trump. Ellen April, professor of tax law at Loyola Law School in Los Angeles, said that Time's Up analysis is too conservative and the group wouldn't be putting its tax-exempt status at risk by taking a case involving a candidate for federal office as long as it followed its standard criteria for taking on cases. So it was a lie. As a legal matter, if the group is clear regarding the criteria used as to whom it is taking to court, show that these are long-established neutral criteria and that they are being applied to individuals completely independent of their running for office, it would not be a violation of tax law. Groups are allowed to continue to do what they have always done, she said. The public relations firm that works on behalf of the Time's Up Legal Defense Fund is SKD Knickerbocker, whose managing director, Anita Dunn, is the top advisor to Biden's presidential campaign people.
And that's the pause. Okay, I'm going to play that again for you real quick because I feel like you guys probably missed it. Hold on, I'm going to jump it back for a couple of seconds and I'm going to play this again. Are you ready?
She couldn't go any further. Ruling out federal candidates marks off limits any member of Congress running for re-election, right? I mean, that's what that rule would be.
You would think.
Well, right, as well as President Trump. Ellen April, professor of tax law at Loyola Law School in Los Angeles, said that Time's Up analysis is too conservative and the group wouldn't be putting its tax-exempt status at risk by taking a case involving a candidate for federal office as long as it followed its standard criteria for taking on cases. So it was a lie. As a legal matter, if the group is clear regarding the criteria used as to whom it is taking to court, show that these are long-established neutral criteria and that they are being applied to individuals completely independent of their running for office, it would not be a violation of tax law. Groups are allowed to continue to do what they have always done, she said. The public relations firm that works on behalf of the Time's Up Legal Defense Fund is SKD Knickerbocker, whose managing director, Anita Dunn, is the top advisor to Biden's presidential campaign people.
There you go. I don't know what more you need. The top advisor for Biden's campaign fund is the same director of the legal team that works for the legal team, the firm that works for Time's Up. And so they didn't take the case. If that's not fucking corruption, I don't know what is. What the fuck?
I am speechless. Like, stunned speechless that such big hypocrisy is being covered up. Like, so it's case by case, that's what they have said. And it's never been affected by a candidate's political affiliations. And the only common factor here is that the member of the board is part of the director. The director is part of Joe Biden's campaign. And you're like, this is like a classic example of selective justice, you know, and it's like there's justice for some but not for all. And right, like Shet said, this is corruption. This is exactly what people are irked about, that law is not applicable or applied equally to all parties.
Well, they lied.
They lied that because Joe Biden is a candidate for office now, that they can't pursue him. That's ridiculous. He should be actually persuaded because he's vouching to be a candidate for office. This should be the filter. And if the allegations come out to be true, he needs to go. He does not deserve that seat. He does not deserve that candidacy. Like, come on. Like, you're telling all the women out there, as long as it suits us, we will help you. But as soon as it troubles, when the actual fight is supposed to happen, the actual fight is where you're going against someone maybe whom you idolized or whom you were hoping to be a candidate for presidency. That's the actual fight. And you are running and scurrying away when the actual fight is supposed to happen. It's very easy to pick up cases which are against the opposing candidates. When you have to pick up a case against one of your own, which I think by now we have established Joe Biden is not a Democrat, it should be easier for them to kick him out, just like flick him out and then bring someone else in. Like, come on, if you really want someone who's like friendly with the Republicans, you can get Hillary in. The only reason she's not getting away in is, I don't know why, but yeah, Joe Biden still, especially when we need to walk the talk, it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Sorry. Yeah.
I can't. I literally can't with this. You have okay, so in the 80s when Tara tried, the steps were not in place. There was nowhere for her to go. She lost her job. She lost her career because of this. They kicked her out. If you watch the rest of the interview, it's fucking disgusting. Joe Biden's office essentially harassed her and retaliated against her until she left. Yeah. On top of that, now when we've started to put things in place for women properly, to be like, okay, well, here's where you can get this Me Too movement and this what is it called? Oh God, I lost the name.
Time's Up.
Time's Up. This Time's Up group is supposed to be a separate entity that is separate. It has nothing to do with political affiliation. That's supposed to be able to help people no matter who it is. They get funding from the government, quote unquote, but it's because they are tax exempt. And now they're worried about their tax exempt status because of who they're going after. They're like, oh, well, yeah, but if we go after the next potential president, that next president is going to fuck us. Also, yeah, by the way, our legal team's director is part of the Biden campaign, so we can't take your case.
Just, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
Detail.
What
That's a very irrelevant detail, you know.
They straight up refuse to take a legitimate case that has previous documentation because of a political affiliation that they have, not that she has, that they have because of the director of their legal team.
I'm actually surprised that Fox News hasn't picked it up.
Yeah, what the hell's gonna happen when Trump finds out about this? You think he's really gonna be a good candidate when Trump went? Like, you're gonna lose everybody.
And then it will be too late. There's still time to switch the candidates and save face. Right now, it will be saving face. But once...
Well, it'll be more than saving face. It'll be saving your own policies. It'll be not being fucking hypocritical, full of shit garbage.
Yeah, that too. I don't know if they want to do that or not at this stage, but that should be one of the aims. But once Joe Biden gets head-to-head with Trump, and Fox News start pursuing him, and those other similar news outlets, they will rip him to shreds. And I'm scared, like, the way Joe Biden behaves, especially in town halls and in public meetings, he's gonna get ripped out. They're gonna rip him out by his throat.
Yes. I think part of that, why... you say, well, why isn't places like Fox picking this up? They're obviously right-leaning. They would have every motivation to do so. However, if they start going after Biden for this accusation and for his creepy behavior, they then also have to acknowledge all of the same with Trump. Because you can't go after Biden, just like how people can't go out, you were saying we can't go after Trump and not call out Biden for this. It works both ways. You can't go after Biden and then say, well, it's not a big deal that Trump has more accusations.
I'm actually very, very hopeful of Fox News talents at this point, because they're very good at twisting stuff. They're very good at it. They're very good at pivoting.
They are very good at that.
They are, and I'm very
But this is one of those things, I don't know, it seems to be like an impasse. Like, you can't get around it. You have to, or people will call that out.
Well, you're getting an issue with both, right?
That more and more.
You're getting an issue with both. You're pissing off the young people, you're pissing off the women, and you're pissing off the people who have fucking standards. You're pissing off your base now, and so you're taking a huge risk. If Biden is a gigantic risk, people are like, oh, well, he's a moderate in his policies, so he's the medium. No, he is risky as hell because of his past.
Oh, yeah.
And so Trump is going to go after that, and because of that, you make it more likely that Trump will get voted in again. And on top of that, you're pissing off your future base. You really think the millennials that are going to be pissed that you put Biden in office are going to forget? Hell no!
Oh, in this age of information?
They're going to be pissed.
Oh, yeah.
Well, people are already pissed because, like you said, they see them repeating the same mistake they made last time. And it's really frustrating to see the exact same thing happening again when they had plenty of forewarning, but it's not what they want. For whatever reason, they don't want Bernie in that position because maybe he'll change things too much. Maybe his ideas are a little too far.
No, that's the point. He's a centralist, right? I agree with you. I think that's what people do think. And I think that's what people think because they don't understand what the hell they're getting into. And what they're getting into is the American system is so far shifted to the right. Like the political spectrum is so far shifted to the right, they do not realize that Biden or that Sanders is not extreme. He's centralist.
No, he's not.
Anywhere else on the planet, he's a centralist. He's not even really that much of a Democrat. He's not that far left. He is central. Anywhere else on the planet. Anywhere else on the planet. So what does that mean for Biden? If Sanders is the extreme left and Biden is the central point and Trump is like, let's say Trump is the more extreme Republican side. I'm not sure that he is, but we'll
he's a funny one that way. He falls kind of in different spots depending on.
Yeah, he does. So let's call him a midway. Let's call him a midway Republican.
He does it as it suits him.
Just for the analogy. Let's call him middle way Republican. So you've got here, and way over here. But the thing is that because your political spectrum is so shifted that Trump is way over here, Biden is a Republican, like hard right, and Bernie is actually a centralist.
Yeah.
You don't even have a proper democratic... Could you imagine, like, fucking, like, our prime minister down there? Trudeau is actually...
A lot of people imagine that quite often.
Right? Okay, so, like, Prime Minister Centerfold over here is a liberal. So in Canada, a liberal is red, but they're our version of progressive. So they're our Democrat. So
Right.
our colors are switched.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just to be clear. So he is on the left. And then we have our conservatives who are blue, which are on the right. So again, like I said, colors are switched. He's legitimately on the left. He pushes some policies that are pissing some people off.
Mm-hmm.
In some cases, rightfully so. In other cases, I think that people aren't necessarily looking far enough ahead. They're looking too short-sighted.
Sure.
Which is fine. I don't care. There seem to be a lot of people that are pissed, particularly like around my family, and it's all the older white men. I'm not sure why, but it seems to be a common theme. But they're like, oh, well, fuck this Trudeau guy. And I have yet to understand why. Like, I don't know why they're mad at him. They're just like, well, fuck this guy. And I'm like, I don't know why you're mad. I don't know what you're upset about. So I have yet to get a proper...
They have to articulate that, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
I see criticisms of him coming from even, like, more left.
Yeah. Oh, there's further left than he is. He's definitely
further left or whatever, or that people think he's a poser as a leftist, that he doesn't really help people.
But if you move
I don't
him into the American template, he is fucking gone. He's so far left, he's not even on the stick anymore.
It's really about perspective and where you are and what your viewpoint is. You know, because exactly that gradient and that scale is different depending on where you are.
Well, okay, so Canada is very similar to Britain, and Britain is, like, even Russia is similar in like, the spectrum. The spectrum remains the same for the most part. You might get, like, a slight movement of people, but the spectrum itself is the same. Except for America. America's just decided to be like, Beep! And the whole spectrum is just right.
It's like, don't want to even listen to the left. That's not the Democrats. The middle part is the left.
I'm convinced that Biden is not a Democrat.
Nah, he's and he's been creeping, and he's doing another stupidity that kind of, I can say, Hillary also did last. He's keeping quiet about your policies and not being verbal about them in any way is the massive shit you can take on your campaign. Trump is always verbal. Even if he is offensive in his policy, he's always verbal about his policy. Oh, I'm going to get rid of this. Oh, I'm going to get rid of that. Even though people don't like it, they know what what he's up to. But Biden and Hillary failed because of the same reason. She kept on pointing, oh, Trump harasses women, blah. Republicans didn't care about that. So that it was useless. What really came to was the policies, and she never talked about them. And that's what Biden is also doing at this point. He's not talking about his policies at all. And that's going to take a shit on the Democratic campaign. Mark my words. It's going to cost them. To be so vague.
Yeah.
I think part of it too, people are looking at going back to saying that, good point, Chesh, that Biden's not really a Democrat. But that's what people would say with Trump. Like, that Trump wasn't really a Republican, and people like that about him because he was kind of on both sides. It's like he can tickle both sides of your fancy with that.
Well, the thing is that Trump doesn't play both sides, though. Biden 100% plays both sides. I agree with that.
Yeah,
he 100% plays both sides.
I
don't think Trump does that, though. Trump doesn't play both sides. Trump plays for Trump, period.
Well, right, but the fact that he would appease some of the things he was saying were getting people from both bases is what was interesting. And I don't know if that's what they're trying to recreate with Biden, just the flip of it.
Well, the problem is with Biden is he's not...
It doesn't work the same.
Yeah, the issue is that Biden, in corporate and with politicians, but not with the people. which is the problem. Biden doesn't appeal to
Yeah.
fucking anybody. Who likes Biden?
These people up there, though, they're not in tune with
No,
what
the
people
yeah,
really
exactly.
want.
The
They
corporations
look at
like
numbers
Biden.
and statistics, but
The
they're
corporations like
lacking
Biden.
a street knowledge. You know,
Yeah,
that's
there's a disconnect going on here, but that disconnect doesn't exist with Sanders, and it doesn't exist with Warren. There might be a little bit more with Warren. It's hard to say, but that degree of separation, like AOC is down, and she knows. She's been there, and she remembers it. Bernie Sanders was a civil rights activist. Biden was lying about his civil rights activism. Why is he even a candidate? I do not understand. In any Democrat, I don't understand, even in a Republican. The Republicans blew my mind when they were like, this guy assaults women. Meh. What the fuck? And then for a Democrat to do the same thing that the Democrats were outraged about, and everybody to go, meh.
Yeah. Because you either go meh, or
you know why?
Fucking what?
I think Republicans kind of know that that Democrats, especially the millennials, they will shit on Joe Biden hard for this. They know that Democrats take their candidates to a task for anything like that, and they're playing on that.
And the Republicans will too.
Lose, what? The Republicans will too.
Yeah. The Republicans are going to take advantage of the fact that Biden and the Democratic Party fucked over the American people again. This is not the first time. This is the second time. Again. And this isn't even okay, so Biden might get in. Let's say for argument's sake, let's say that Biden does win. Because the main reason Trump won wasn't because of the popular vote. The main reason Trump won was because of the Electoral College. And everybody who voted Trump in for the Electoral College, I'm being a little bit hyperbole, was kicked out. So none of those people who voted for Trump are currently in the Electoral College still. However, if you force someone into a position that they are not ready for and they cannot handle, like Biden is. Biden can't handle Trump. He cannot. And your whole base is, let's pick somebody who can electability, because these people are talking about electability. Well, Sanders isn't going to be electable because, nobody's going to... Bullshit! He's the one who's got people showing up. He's the one who's got money. The polls say that people agree with the things that Biden is running for. So if the entire party got behind Bernie instead of Biden, you want to talk about that blue wave? That's how you get that fucking blue wave. I need to pee. Can somebody take the super chat? I'll be right back. I can't fucking with his bullshit.
There's a super chat.
Godless Scummer, thank you.
I got it if you want.
Yeah.
Godless Scummer for 5. Bernie is a reformist social democrat at best. However, that seems to equate to Trotskyism in the U.S. for some reason. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Democratic socialism equals communism.
Yeah, they don't seem to understand the very big difference between those two things. And it's,
I think so. We have let the opposition or the Republicans or the far right run that narrative for too long that, like Nikki said, that democratic socialism is communism. And they have repeated that lie over and over again. And people have actually started believing. And which is sad. Which is really sad, and that's not the truth. It's time we start repeating the truth over and over again. Communism is not democratic socialism, so F off. Stop it.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's like Bernie Sanders has almost always toted this idea of democratic socialism. He's had the same ideas and the same policies basically for 50 years, however long he's been in office. He got arrested for civil rights movements that he participated in college. He has always championed a woman's right to choose. He has championed young people, not giving tax breaks to the rich while middle-class families literally get no help whatsoever. He has always been on the right side of history, and I want to stand by him. honestly, Bernie Sanders was the first time I felt hope in a while. He is so passionate and he is so impassioned and he cares about us deeply and he wants us to have a good future. But with people like Biden, they want the status quo. They want to keep making these millions and millions and millions of dollars and not change anything, and I'm sick of it.
Right.
Yeah, and actually, Bernie Sanders is someone who's knowledgeable enough to know how that change can come in. He knows what wheels to turn. Whereas Joe Biden, I think so the only reason he has been keeping quiet till now is he does not know how the fuck everything works. He has no idea about it. And he's just waiting for his campaign team to feed him some stuff so he can just regurgitate if it comes to, debates and stuff. Because we have seen his previous debates. He just makes these one-liner comments and then he just goes quiet. That's it. And then everybody just takes over and he's like,
there.
and he's just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's nothing else.
Do you think
So
the Democrats...
I don't think that he has any idea.
Do you think the
Did you just finish your whole beer? Gone.
Do you think the Democrats run into a problem when they're trying to hide their candidate from the primaries?
Oh yeah.
Huh.
The way he has performed in the Democratic debates, or all, when they are selecting the candidates and stuff. Yeah, he's not going to last. Like, he's inept. He's very inept. He just make these one-liners and goes quiet. And when somebody actually is talking what they know about, and he's just like, oh my god.
Oh, let's have a push-up competition.
Yeah. So he is inept.
How do you think he's going to be strong against Trump? I can't understand a single person that thinks this is the case. I don't understand that point of view. Why?
I mean, physically, maybe.
I don't even think that, to be honest.
I'll give this to Trump, despite what he has done with women and everything. When he starts attacking, he doesn't stop, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care. And for a candidate to have that, even though when people point out to his face that you lied, buddy, he's like, nope, I don't lie. I said this, I didn't lie. He is so focused.
He's consistently dishonest, yes.
Yeah, that. But you need that kind.
Biden's
that courage,
a fucking liar.
Courage.
So it's like you can't. It's There's something to be said for trying to fight fire with fire, but then there's also,
Joe Biden is not fire.
That's the thing, though. Like, it's not fighting fire with fire. It's just like throwing a little match.
It's fighting fire with some milk toast.
Put it out. It doesn't work that way, and I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking, but I can't.
But Bernie Sanders would have because he knows what he's talking about. He knows the finesses of all the policies and how they are brought into, onto the table, how they are discussed and how they are debated and how they are passed. He knows what bipartisan is. He knows that too. He's done that in the past. So he knows the finesses. So if he stands up against Trump, he can meet Trump head on. But Joe Biden?
Well, people were concerned about Sanders' health, right? They were like, he had a heart attack, we're not sure, Yet, Biden can't string two sentences together anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. He sounds like even there are...
But, and what happens? If Biden, as he said, takes a Republican running mate, wins, and then gets ill, all of a sudden, you've got a Republican government.
Yeah. And
you don't have that. You don't have that with Sanders, and you don't have the same kind of problem with Sanders. Sanders was a heart attack, whereas Bernie Sanders, his face started going, and he seems to not be coherent in his speech or what he's trying to... And he, forgets what he's doing. He doesn't even remember what position he's running for at this point. So, if that's the candidate you're going to push through, you have to think about who his running mate's going to be. And if his running mate is a Republican or somebody who's going to be very lenient on Republicans as Biden is, whereas let's say if you get Bernie and Warren running together, you end up with a situation where if something happens to Bernie, at least you've got somebody who's got integrity and ideals to take his place. who's got the background, who's got the work, who's you might not agree with everything, but at least she's got some shit done.
Yeah. And he might set into motion some policies that might culminate after, even if he goes away, you know, because once you set something in motion in Congress, it has to go to its final stages, you know, through the process and everything. So there's still, you know, and looking at Bernie Sanders, at how many rallies he's done and how many town halls he's done as compared to Joe Biden, and how much he's got a lot more stamina than Joe Biden.
Sanders had the people at a Fox News interview, like the audience at a Fox News interview, standing and clapping for him. Biden is not inspiring anybody. Even the people who are like, yeah, no, we should pick Biden are more like resigned to choosing Biden. But the people who want Bernie to go in, this should be flipped. This should 100% be flipped. You've got people who are like, oh, yeah, you know, Biden. And then you've got people who are like, yeah, Sanders. And you're telling the people who are like, yeah, Sanders, to be like, yeah, but you should pick Biden, though. Instead of the people who are lackadaisy or not as involved or not as excited for their candidate to instead be not so excited for this other candidate, which people are actually excited for.
Like, the excitement for Bernie is just, like, out of control. Like, everybody is just so excited for him. Like, honestly, with Bernie, he gave us hope after such a long time of just, oh, great, I get to grow up, I get to maybe go to school for a job that probably won't work out, and then I get to pay off over $250,000 in student debt. Well, my parents complain that I should stop complaining. Oh, and also I have no health care right now, and I'm probably dying. Oops.
I had an issue with that. I had an issue with that recently, and it was an issue about people were asking why the younger generation doesn't seem to give a shit about this pandemic going through. And the answer is one of two things, and I agree with both, right? It's usually one or the other depending on who you're talking to. Again, I say usually, not all. One is they think it doesn't affect them, and then when they're like, oh, well, this is going to, yeah, but this might affect your grandparents, they end up with being like, oh, well, whatever, I don't care. And there's two main reasons as to why they don't care. One is that they haven't thought about it, so their immediate response is, whatever. Or secondly, you've got the generation who's got to, one, fix your problems, two, be villainized by you as they fix the problems, and be ridiculed by you as we even try to even start to care. A lot of the millennials and a lot of the younger generation are just waiting for the older generation to die. And then this virus shows up and is like, oh, let's kill all the older generation. And the younger generation is like, great, let's speed this process up. Fantastic. Get the fuck out of here, asshole. Like, you wonder why. And then this older generation gets pissy that they're like, why don't they care about us? Oh, maybe because you spent your entire chunk of their lives shitting on them.
Our backs. Your whatever you have, it's borrowed from the future generations. They borrowed. We are the ones paying their loans, their debt. That's what has happened. They push their. And
you mean the people who had their shit paid for them by the people who fought in the war, who had all the wartime garbage going, that were like, look, we're rich because of war.
Yeah. So, and that's what they have done. They have pushed the creases of debt towards the coming generations, and that's what still is happening, and it's piling up.
And they're mad, and then the older generation is mad that the younger generation doesn't give a shit about them. Well, maybe because you're assholes. Yeah. Stop being assholes.
Yeah.
I mean, not to mention us literally watching the environment slowly just degrade.
How long was Australia on fire for?
Too long.
Holy crap.
Way too long.
Padme the cat.
And how was the Prime Minister behaving at that time? Yeah. And also.
And who voted him in? Who's the one who voted in Trump and you're mad about the coronavirus?
Yeah, don't give a shit.
Padme the cat for 666.
We are trying, but we get villainized for it. Anyone who tries to give a shit. Okay.
Millennials are killing Applebee's.
Yeah.
all your news needed to go. Sorry,
the
Steve.
millennials
Applebee's is
fuck Applebee's.
Oh God. I'm so sorry, Steve.
Progress.
Oh,
is
I'm so sorry, faceless corporation. You're shitty at your job. So, like, that is the
Yeah.
they're pissy at
another thing.
millennials for
I'm
utilizing
sorry
capitalism.
I don't have microwaved food anymore.
Yeah, sorry millennials have some standards and got a little snooty, I guess.
There
'Cause we
are
wanted actual good
millennials who
food.
care about. There are millennials who care about this. The nurses, the doctors, right? The social workers. They are millennials. They are not the older generation. These are the millennials, and they do care. But as soon as they start like, okay, can we have some funding, please, so we can help the community? It's like, go shit on yourself. Everything's getting spent on military now.
No, I'm sorry. We can't bail out the individuals. We are busy bailing out our banks. Canada has rules. This isn't Nam. There are rules. You know, the Geneva Convention? No, you're not allowed to use flamethrowers anymore, guys. Come on. That's inhumane. Nam was like, we're gonna flamethrower people, and that's awful and horrible, and that's basically what America is doing. You are flamethrowing your people. Canada has rules. You can't, the banks aren't allowed to do shit. They have to insure the money. So there isn't an issue with our banks haven't needed to be bailed out. Even the recession, our banks were not bailed out.
It happened once in India, all right? We had that. And what immediately one of our only female prime minister did, she had other issues. But one good decision she made was she nationalized the banks.
Yes.
She was like, we're taking over the private, and the rules are so strict. Like, you have to maintain a reserve. And on top of that, then you have got to have this much money before you start lending.
Yeah.
Right?
There are rules. And there are expectations.
There are rules in place, and there are private banks, okay, in the banking industry.
Well, that's why everybody's switching to credit unions.
The rules are more stringent on them. They gotta have more bigger reserves before they can go out in the market and lend money.
Speaking of banks, Biden and credit cards, that he basically was like fucking over everybody who had any kind of debt whatsoever and taking away any protections for those people who were in debt, etc., etc. Padme the Cat for 666 said Biden is literally the one candidate that could possibly lose to Trump. Someone eat his face and then dismantle the corrupt democratic establishment. I mean, that makes sense coming from a cat. Cats definitely eat faces.
Yeah, they like to.
I can't with this shit. Okay, I don't play you guys a clip.
Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead. Go first. I'll find the clip.
Oh no, I was gonna say, it's interesting hearing people from the outside again, from whatever country. They're so like outraged and I can't understand this and this is so crazy. Meanwhile, people who are in America are like, this is just the way it is, man. Some of us are being driven crazy too, but you know.
I do not doubt that there are American. The thing is that American people are pissed. My question, the reason why I'm disappointed in the American people is because America is like known for being like, yo, fuck the rules. We're the American people. You should be concerned about us. But for some reason in this, they're just laying down and taking it. Like, why are you just taking this shit up the ass when you're fucking America?
Where are the younger Democrats? Like, why aren't they screaming from their windows and top of their towers?
There
aren't any. There's not enough, and there's
enough.
not enough because the Democrats keep alienating them.
Well, yeah, it's that divide and conquer thing too. I mean, the American people are so divided amongst themselves. We can't organize to actually come together on the things that we agree on. It sounds simple. It sounds like, oh, well, put a forum together or throw a Twitter hashtag together and get people to get organized.
Maybe we should start a hashtag justice for Tara Reade or something. Because it's ridiculous.
That will bring people who agree, and it'll divide people who don't.
Well, the thing is
that that's just the culture we have. Everything is a battle. So even people who say have the exact same principles and they're like the vote blue no matter who crowd, there will be people who are like, we have to support Biden no matter what because he's going to be.
Manya, reset your camera.
Oh, I still see her, but.
She completely green screened on mine. I don't know.
Seriously, sorry. Sorry, just give me a second.
There's an issue, though, when it gets to... there's a problem with the two-party system, and it gets to the point where your country is no longer making any progress because you're too busy with being one party versus the other party. So one of the things that we have in Canada is we have a multi-party system. So there was a time where the conservatives in our country, which is your version of Republicans, kind of, fucked up so bad that they didn't even get the minority, because we generally have two parties that are at the top and they're just kind of flipping back and forth. But because there are more parties directly underneath them, when the conservatives fucked up so bad, they dropped below one other party and another person, like another group, took their place. As it should be. If there should be a situation where if the Democrats don't get their shit together, there is another option. And I would probably argue that if they put Biden, this is an opportunity for America. If the Democrats choose to put Biden in this place, then what should happen is the majority of the Democratic Party that actually wants Biden in should leave the Democratic Party, take Warren and Biden with you, and then go get Mitt Romney, who's apparently the only Republican with any balls, and bring him the fuck on. Fucking Mitt Romney! Why the hell didn't he run against him?
He's
the one
I'm
who
gonna
was like,
put my dog on my roof of my car. That guy.
Magic Underwear Man.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
He's Mormon.
But
he's still got more integrity than every other Republican in your fucking country right now.
It's the worst soap opera ever.
I need a pillow to scream into. I can't. I don't.
I live here. How do you think I feel?
I can't even imagine. Like, I'm in another country losing my goddamn
this is
shit.
My home.
You want to know what Canadian politics are like?
Countries, and I'm just like, whatever.
Right? I mean, to be fair,
you got your own problems.
To be fair, your politics affect me greatly. However, you want to know what Canadian politics is? Boring.
Yeah.
Fucking
it's
boring.
It's like English, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like English politics, isn't it? Boring. Order.
All right, I got a couple.
Order.
All right, you guys.
I love that.
I'm gonna play a couple clips, and we're gonna look at Biden's policies for women.
Oh,
we're only looking at the situations with sexual assault allegations as well as his policies. We're not gonna go into his other garbage. We're only gonna talk about this garbage in particular.
Maybe we can have another stream on that.
I'm more than happy to. This link will be in the description down below.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome to join. We're definitely going over time today, and I don't give a shit because I'm pissed. All right.
And my coffee's not over yet, so let's go.
All right, here we go. I'm moving this up, and you guys are going to have to watch from the back, and I'm sorry.
His position during the campaign
see what I can do.
had to be forced by decades of activism. Now, we probably also can't discuss Biden's record on women's issues without mentioning that he has a long history of making women deeply uncomfortable by violating their personal space, including sniffing them, stroking them, and rubbing them. 8 women have accused Biden of inappropriate
I'm pausing real quick because look at Jake Tapper's face. I'm sorry, Jake Tapper. That's a terrible picture of you. My bad. But I'm pausing real quick. You guys there? Monty's muted. Sweet's muted. Oh, you guys are catching up. Sorry, my bad. So, yeah, sorry, you catch up. I just paused real quick. Oh, the volume cut out? Can you guys hear? Oh, hold on. We got an outside issue. Hold up. Talk. One of you.
Hello.
Okay,
It may have started, I think, for me. I just couldn't hear him anymore once text came up over the...
Okay, I'm gonna put
The
it
video.
back. I'm gonna put it back. I'm gonna play it again real quick
Okay.
because it looks like it went out.
Yes, please.
Should go a 20-minute mark.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, alright, I'm gonna play real quick again.
Didn't think a woman had the sole right to say what happened to her body, Biden's record on women's issues has been deeply disappointing. In the 1980s, he voted to let states overturn Roe v. Wade, which the National Abortion Rights Action League said was the most devastating attack yet on abortion rights. In 2006, Biden described himself as an odd man out among Democrats on abortion because he held a more conservative position than Planned Parenthood and the National Organization for Women, and said abortion was always a tragedy and we should be focusing on how to limit the number of abortions. In 2019, he was still saying that he supported the Hyde Amendment banning federal funding of abortions, which Tony Van Pelt, head of the National Organization for Women, called a shocking, unacceptable, and unsupportable position. The now president did not mince words. Anyone without clear opposition to Hyde should consider leaving the race. The girls and women of our nation deserve better. Last year, Biden's spokesman declined to detail Mr. Biden's current views on specific policies he once supported, including banning all federal funding for abortion services and research. Now, finally, Biden did succumb to pressure and reversed his position during the campaign, having had to be forced by decades of activism. Now, we probably also can't discuss Biden's record on women's issues without mentioning that he has a long history of making women deeply uncomfortable by violating their personal space, including sniffing them, stroking them, and rubbing them. 8 women have accused Biden of inappropriately touching them, and in response, Biden has literally said he is, quote, not sorry for anything I've ever done. Now, I personally don't understand how there's any world in which that's not immediately disqualifying, and we can expect to see quotes in TV ads like, I wanted nothing more than to get Biden away from me, and I thought he was going to kiss me on the mouth, he was the vice president, I was a nobody, and it doesn't even really cross your mind that such a person would dare perpetuate harm like that.
And that's where we're going to pause before we actually get into the women's testimony. We're just waiting for them to catch up.
Okay.
Yep.
Lot there to unpack.
So we've got, should we start with the abortion issues?
See what I mean by being very vague about his policies unless push comes to shove?
Well, it's not vague. He's against them until push comes to shove.
No. But
the abortion
not
thing
talking
is
about it.
even
Not talking about them during the campaign. So.
Oh no, he avoids these conversations. Straight up. If people ask him what his current views are, I have a quote. Oh, hold on, let me see if I can find it. So, as of 2020, aides have been refusing to clarify Biden's current position on the things he's supported in the past. One of the things he supported in the past was banning all federal funding to abortion assistance and research. He has been forced to change. He's been forced to change by activism.
Yeah, decades
He's not
of activism.
leading anything.
No, and
he's not vocal about it. He's not like, yes, women have the right to choose. He's not like that. He's like, okay. Do I really have to comment on this? Really? Do I? Really? Oh, okay. I don't believe I should be avoided any longer. Like the most vague answer anybody could, put up. And you're like, seriously, dude? You want to be the president? You want to be the president of this country, and this is what you're telling your women? Like,
and keep in mind, it wasn't him that said that. It's not him that said...
it's a spokesperson.
That said he refused to clarify. An aide spoke for him that he's refusing to clarify.
Yeah.
So what's he going to do? Wait to clarify until he's in the position of becoming president?
Kicked out of the presidential race?
I don't understand how people are not like incredibly offended by this. If he wants to be your representative and the representative of the country, how fucking dare he not make his positions fucking clear? And to me, this does make it clear. It's clear as in that, no, I still hold by these beliefs, except I'm going to tell you what you want to hear if I get the election to, like the Democratic election.
Give me the candy. I'll say whatever you want.
Yeah.
Flip-floppy motherfucker.
And that's exactly the kind of political games that people are trying to say they don't want anymore.
It's a swamp.
Yeah.
He's a swamp
It's exactly, saying the kind of language that, oh, it's always horrible and we want to limit. Most people out there would agree with that. Yes, abortion's a sucky thing for, however you want to look at it. For the woman especially, it's not fun and roses and games. Women don't go out, girls don't go out looking for this to happen to them. It's not a party. We want to limit it. I want to limit the number of surgeries we have to do to get cancer out. I want to limit, all these things. We want to make these things not an issue. It's just, okay, well, but if it becomes a thing where you need it to happen, how is that going to move forward?
There's a difference.
And that's what he was avoiding.
Right.
He was using language that both sides can empathize with.
That way,
and avoiding the actual
that can be as favorable to both the sides.
And that would be fine if he actually took a position. If he used language that reached
this is a way
both
to avoid
people. That. Yeah, but he's avoiding it.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's the problem, though. Banning federal funding to abortions and abortion research, yes, that limits the number of abortions, but not in a good way. You know what that does increase? The number of women who have to get back alley abortions with coat hangers.
Yeah.
And
that doesn't help anyone.
That will die.
Who die during the number of women who will risk their health trying to look for alternatives for abortions and actually suffering through difficult miscarriages, like fatal miscarriages, and at the same time going through mental health issues that come with postnatal care, not getting the postnatal care because of the birth and everything that comes up with it.
Well, let me put it this way. Biden has not retracted his initial statement from 1974. Quote,
I wasn't even born then.
Quote, I don't think a woman has the sole right to say what should happen to her body. He has not taken that back. He has not changed his position without force.
Those are his words, that a woman has the sole right to decide. Oh, really? Can we do that for men too?
Men don't have the sole right anymore.
They don't get those pills that they always want. Those are like free under the healthcare and health insurance. They don't get those.
No, and I understand that there's an argument for certain circumstances where people talk about the rights of the father. That's again, this is a whole other conversation.
Absolutely, you should absolutely
that
be
is
able
a conversation
to opt
to
the
have.
hell out. Absolutely.
Yeah, that is a conversation to
My
have.
question,
but at the end of the day,
the right of the father should start when the child is born. I think so.
Well, the argument is devil's advocate, however, just to make sense of it, the argument is that, say in a situation where a husband and wife decide they're going to have a child, the woman is essentially promising this to the husband.
Oh yeah.
And then she decides afterwards she doesn't want to continue with the pregnancy. I think that the argument is that the man should be entitled to some sort of emotional compensation for that, just like you would in any other broken contract, that there's something there. But at the end of the day, the woman should still have the right over her own body. Even if she decides to break that contract, then she deals with the repercussions from that, but not at the cost of being forced to have her body do something she doesn't want it to do.
It's a thing that goes both ways, and in one sense it goes one way, and in one sense it goes the other way. So if you're talking about whether or not women should have the right to an abortion, it does not go in the woman's favor. However, if you look at the other side, if the woman doesn't want to have an abortion, it does not go in the man's favor. It goes in the woman's favor. And especially when you get to after the child is born and you get into custody fights. However, custody fights should not be equated to abortion rights. Different issues.
Yeah.
Totally
different.
Fucking issues. And people link those two together so much because they're related in the outcome, but they are not related in what the problem is. John Lloyd makes an interesting point. He says, how about we reward the women with 100% of the adoption fees and more, question mark. I think there is a way to balance this. There is a way to do it.
That would be up for negotiation. That would be between the couple. I think that would be
it should be a
mediated
discussion.
It shouldn't be an automatic thing, though. It should be something that people agree on. If they want to make an offer, if somebody wants to say, hey, I'll give you X amount of money for you to have this child, that's what people do anyways. We have surrogates that exist.
Well, if the...
Go ahead, Nikki.
Sorry. People have that.
Let Nikki go. Sorry.
That's everywhere. That's everywhere. Like, you can do that on almost anything. It's actually way cheaper than just going out and adopting things. So really young girls who don't want to have abortions.
The little gremlins.
Well, no, I meant the process specifically. The process.
Yeah, we know.
But you know, usually young girls or people who don't want to have an abortion, but definitely don't want to have the child, but also do not want to sacrifice their child to the adoption system, which it's like something like $40,000 to $100,000 just to adopt a child that is in desperate need of a home. But basically, they just skip everything, and instead of going through the government, they have like a private like contract basically, and the mom can like basically pull out of it, but they pay for sometimes for the food and lodging the entire time of the pregnancy, and then once the girl gives birth,
like surrogacy,
they get the baby, and they also pay for the medical. Yeah. Exactly.
So that could always be an option. But
America has a disgustingly high death rate for pregnant women. It's for a first world country, it's fucking disgusting. And that has to do with the healthcare system, right? So the answer is that there is a middle ground to have here. So the question is which candidate is going to have that conversation? Sure as fuck isn't Joe Biden. You have to get to the point where you understand that women should not have to, and neither should men. A woman shouldn't be required to be a parent because of an accidental pregnancy. A man should also not be required to be a parent because of an accidental pregnancy. There should 100% be an opt-out option for men as long as it's within X amount of time, and that time can be discussed. To be like, oh, we're a couple and we're
depending on the viability of the...
Depending on the relationship.
Yeah.
That should be an option, but it should be an option for both parents. The point is to allow for these options and these choices to be able to be made. But who's going to have that discussion? If you're going to shut down abortion, how the fuck are you going to have the discussion? It sure as fuck isn't Joe Biden.
Nope. It's frustrating. And to say that he hasn't taken back whatever his stand was on abortion since 1970.
Yeah, exactly. And if you want to discuss...
Even when the push came to shove, he went through his aide who probably knew what to say.
Exactly.
Like,
and there's on top of that, somebody made a point about adoption. If you want to have less abortions, the answer isn't to eliminate abortion. The answer is to create a licensing system, or create a requirement for parentage, create this, that, or the other thing.
Exactly.
So if you want people to adopt more and have less abortions, then you make adoption a better option. And you either make it easier or you at least streamline it. Streamline it. And have like higher standards in if you don't want people to abort that, and the reason people are aborting is one of them is because they don't want to put their kids through the adoption process make your adoption system better, make your foster situation better. If you improve those, then people will be less likely to abort a child, period. If you even consider it a child,
give them the care they need. And from that, you need to streamline the abortion, but at the same time, the healthcare system that we're talking about, provide them with better... Women get shit for care during pregnancy.
Yes.
I think so Sweet can vouch for that. Hopefully I'm not wrong. Like, the healthcare system is not very friendly.
It depends where you are. I'm lucky. I live near Boston. Our hospitals in Boston, a lot of them are really great. But around the country, that's not the case. In a lot of other states,
it depends on
they
your
just don't
income
have...
too.
Yeah, well,
can depend on
our
your income
insurance,
too.
Massachusetts insurance is pretty good. It's a pain to get on and maintain, but they do cover these things once you get it figured out.
And the thing that you need insurance to cover natal care and postnatal care.
Yeah, all
and
that.
everything.
Basically, the father of my child didn't really have to pay for anything at all.
Well, let alone when you start getting into like daycare.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. I was lucky that was private, but I was lucky I had family to help me with that.
The financial burden it takes.
Oh yeah.
Essentially, if you want people to have less abortion, the point is to help them after the kid is born.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is like, oh, you had the kid, now you're on your...
Yeah, which a lot of people, unfortunately, the pro-life, a lot of people who are pro-life. Oh, sorry.
She was apologizing for interrupting you. You go ahead. And then Nikki. So sweet, go then Nikki.
Yeah, go.
Problem with the adoption system, part of it being the expense. A lot of people, like, by the time you have enough money to adopt a child, but then maintain afterwards is a problem. There are people who want to adopt kids just to get the welfare. And that's a problem. I think they're trying to balance out filtering these people so that kids are less likely to be abused.
Yeah. Who's trying to balance this, though? This conversation doesn't seem like it's something that's happening.
No, well, it's like they're stuck. I mean, the people disagree on the best way to do it. It could be more streamlined, but at the same time, they want it to be difficult intentionally so that people are really wanting the kids for the right reasons. They're going to go through qualifying for that. And I forget the other part of my thought. So go ahead, Nikki.
Well, a lot of times with people who say that they're pro-life, they're more pro-birth because they'll vote against anything that will help the mother afterwards. Literally,
I like to call these people
there's no support after.
It's because they're anti-choice. They're not pro-life. They're anti-choice. They do not think women should have a choice. And I like calling them that because it pisses them off because it's too true.
But it's accurate. It's accurate.
I like calling them pro-birth because seriously, as soon as that baby's born, they couldn't give a shit. They do care about super young babies, but that's about it. But when you look at it like a person in, let's say, my position, low income, who didn't have very good schooling, might not have a car, they get pregnant on accident, perhaps because they can't afford birth control.
Or because they can't and the condom failed.
Exactly. Or if, like in the Bible Belt, for instance, it is super hard to get birth control. It is so hard. They put you through the ringer. They make you feel ashamed. And this is for birth control. But these women, they literally, they cannot support a child.
Right.
Yeah, the father wants nothing to do with her. She has no money, no time. All of her extra time is spent at either school or at work. She has no support as soon as she has that baby. What is she supposed to do? How is she supposed to afford $100 a week in childcare alone? My sister is dealing with this right now. Like it's very sad.
The most that it cost me in Canada, if I wanted birth control, because I was testing out different ones to see what would work, and I tried the ring, didn't like it. Birth control fucks with me, so I'm not a big fan.
It
I
does.
can't take
a lot of them.
That's a whole other conversation. It's a whole other conversation to expect the hormonal garbage that goes along with birth control, and we will have that conversation. Not tonight.
Oh, we will.
It cost me to do an offshoot of the pill. It cost me $60, and that would cover me for like 3 months. So it wasn't like it's gonna cut. Exactly.
A worthy investment.
And that wasn't the pill. The pill was cheaper. It was a variant, right? So let's
$5 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. So let's move on real quick and talk about some of the quotes for the women. How many women can you find a quote for Donald Trump? Because we're talking about Biden going against Trump, right? So how many quotes can you find of women saying about Donald Trump, quote, "I wanted nothing more than to get him away from me"?
I mean, specifically that. I mean, word for word, obviously.
Well, just like
maybe not,
along
but
those lines.
I think there was 20 something women that came forward.
Yeah.
About him, and then there were some
Biden's
men
got at
that
least 8
corroborated. Like what?
Biden's got at least 8 right now.
Yeah.
8?
So I mean, if we're going tit for tat, Trump still wins, basically.
Well, what I'm talking about is
That's I don't want to think like that. Yeah.
Right. Is a situation. So the question then becomes, what is the number of women that are required before you give a shit?
And it should be 1.
It should be 1. It should absolutely be fucking 1. Why would you need... If a guy rapes 1 girl, do you care?
You should.
Is that a question that needs to be answered? Seriously? In this day and age?
There are people that need to answer that question.
You shouldn't be raping people because coronavirus.
Yeah.
That's one reason.
Silent about it because Joe Biden. Fuck. Like.
Nope.
Quote, I thought he was gonna kiss me on the mouth. If somebody grabs you by the neck and leans into you, and then they're the vice president of the United States, the fuck do you do?
I'd be like, no, you don't know. You say that.
Idea?
If it was some rando on the street, I have punched people on the street for that.
And but the president of the United States. How bad? How amazing would it have been if one of these women just reeled back and slapped him?
Oh.
You want to talk about a clip?
That needs to happen more. Unfortunately, I hate to advocate for violence, but my point
shove him. You don't have to slap him. Just push him away and be like, "What are you doing?" Like, call that shit out when it happens.
Boys or girls, whatever. If you react in the moment. React in the moment.
But
yell, scream.
The thing is that
it's
you
subtle.
don't
I have contention
expect it from an old fart like Joe Biden. You wouldn't expect that someone who claims that they have been in civil rights movements and shit. You don't expect that.
Nikki,
if someone attacks you like that, I mean, in a hallway, in a place where there are people, it's different.
Keep in mind
I know
that Tara was in her own room, right? She was in a separate room out the side. Go ahead, Nikki. Go ahead.
I thought it was the hallway.
I kind of have contention with the whole react in the moment. Not a lot of people can get over that initial shock.
Yeah.
Whenever I was sexually assaulted at my job, there was a camera that caught it and there was a witness, and it still took me almost 2 hours to finally come forward to my manager on a super busy Friday night and be like, "Hey,
shit's going on,
this guy assaulted me," and I'm literally in tears.
Yeah,
well,
there's an initial shock that you have to get over, and those people, the people who do assault women, kind of know that.
And
I kind of know that happens,
and
it's legit.
Take advantage. They take advantage of that too.
But the more that we encourage,
it's a switch in the narrative, right? It's a switch in the narrative. It is so shocking to people, but if we get used to it, and as horrible as that is, if we get used to something like this happening, and we take calling it out at the moment as the norm instead of, because right now what it is like,
that's
how are they going to react? How am I going to react? Oh my god, I wasn't. But if you're expecting it,
you're not the lady who was in it. Maybe the people around him who would be like, "Man, what do you think you?"
Right. It doesn't have to be the victim. It doesn't have to be the victim.
One thing that really bothered me about what Tara said was that when she went and she talked to her mother about this, she's in her 20s. Mm-hmm. She didn't understand that she had been sexually assaulted until after she talked about it. Yep. She should have known in that moment.
Yeah.
That's not on her. That's not her fault.
Issue.
It's an issue that, we need to teach better for girls, because she should have known in that moment that was wrong. And she should have been questioning, was it my fault? Did I set him up? Did I do something wrong? Those things should not have gone through her head. But they have gone through. They went through Nikki's head. They've gone through my head.
And one of the reasons they went through her head is because he set her up for that.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that he fucked up, because that was his response to fucking
up. And because
up.
she wasn't taught to look out for that and to be aware it could happen. And hopefully having these conversations more help people with that.
One of the quotes is, "It doesn't even really cross your mind that such a person would dare perpetuate harm like that."
Mm-hmm.
how dare someone in a position such as vice president of the United States of America. There was a huge kerfuffle up here in Canada where people were pissed at Trudeau because he accidentally bumped into somebody.
Oh, yeah.
You have any idea how pissed everybody would be? He would be in the gutter if he fucking touched somebody inappropriately. You bumped into somebody in a weird way. Fuck you, how dare you?
Fuck you.
You got Joe Biden over here.
Boy, come here.
Yeah, and you got fucking he had to make a public apology in the fucking House of Commons to be like, I didn't mean to bump into them, I'm really sorry, I apologize. And then he had to do it again in French.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Bilingual apology, bitch.
But then again, you got fucking Biden over here shoving his fingers into girls, being like, "Oh no, this is fine. I don't apologize for anything I've ever done
sorry
in my career."
Me. I heard you liked me, so. But at the same time, you're
okay. But you're okay.
It's literally everything people said they hated about Trump. It's the same attitude.
It's the same thing.
Why isn't this more outrageous?
It's the same reason he was kicked out in the 80s. Joe Biden had to drop out of the running in the 80s for his behavior, and that doesn't even include the sexual assault stuff. So how is adding more to that make it better?
It's like the outrage runs out when the statute runs out or something, you know? Should the outrage run out too? Like,
right. We're gonna, right now...
If it was like, if Joe Biden had... I was aware that it was, you know, inappropriate or something. I'm really sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Not even a sorry. Fuck.
Well, the answer is because the Democrats aren't pushing it. The Democrats are not pushing that. They're not putting his feet to the fire. But what's going to happen as soon as he's in the running?
Where's Warren?
Well, if they put him...
Warren? Where's Hillary Clinton? Where are they? Where's AOC?
Where are the women?
He should be screaming.
So if you were to take Biden, so right now Biden is in a safe space. The Democrats are protecting him from these allegations. They're protecting him from having to answer for this shit. So what happens when they take him out of that safe space and put him against Trump? That shit comes up over and over.
He's going to self-incinerate. He's going to self-incinerate. That's what's going to happen.
His feet aren't going to be held to a pyre. He's going to be on pyre. It will be a pyre of him on fire. That's what's going to happen.
It will be like, hey, buddy. Like that. You know what that happens in anime? Like and the blackened face. That's going to happen continuously.
He's going to be like a little pile of dust that's got blinking eyeballs in it. All right, let's hear.
It's not gonna go well.
Let's hear for a minute what the women actually had to say about this.
Okay.
I feel Joe Biden put his hands on my shoulders, get up very close to me from behind, lean in, smell my hair, and then plant a slow kiss on the top of my head. As a candidate who was preparing to make my case for why I should be elected the second in command of that state, to have the vice president of the United States do that to me so unexpectedly and just kind of out of nowhere, it was just shocking.
I felt, and my husband noticed, that Mr. Biden's hand that had been on my shoulder slowly disappeared and did a slow descent down my back until he reached my waist. In all honesty, I was shocked. That wasn't something I had anticipated that the Vice President of the United States would do.
Another accuser recalls an encounter with the Vice President at a fundraiser.
When we were standing there, he came over and he just slid his hands behind my neck and pulled me close, and then he rubbed noses with me for 10 seconds, 15 seconds. He was saying something to me, I don't remember what. And yeah, it was uncomfortable.
Okay, so next, criminal punishment. The American...
And there's the pause. So we'll wait for them to catch up. But this is ridiculous. Quite frankly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, can you can you just not can you keep your hands to yourself, please? Like, come on.
Stop touching us.
Be Keanu Reeves. Just hover your hands in the air.
Listen to
Keanu
feedback.
Reeves is the best.
Yeah, no, Keanu Reeves is so cute. Like
Keanu
that.
Reeves is the best. He's literally the best.
Did you see his new girlfriend?
He's like his hands are like that, and you're that's what I'm.
Yeah.
Like, for fucking sake, keep your hands to yourself.
So how do you guys think Trump is going to respond to this stuff?
Oh, he's gonna have a field day.
Well, I don't know what he really can do because he condones this behavior. So he can go against Biden on it for it, but this is stuff that he has.
But this is something that people have already accepted of him, but not of a Democrat.
I understand. The best he can do is call out the hypocrisy, which he would be right in doing. That they're not being
So how does that, in what way does that mean that, so if they're equal on the way they treat women field, then that means that Biden loses the advantage. Because that should be a really fucking easy advantage.
It should be. It really should be. And I think that the problem, what we face with a lot of people, is that they are in the mindset of, okay, well, he's almost as bad as Trump in this one way, but he's still not Trump. He's still better in all these other ways. So let's overlook this one flaw, even though it's kind of a big one, because they're so desensitized to all the garbage that Trump got away with on that scale. What Biden did, yeah, it's bad, but it's still an improvement.
I was grabbed by the pussy, though, and then then Biden actually did it.
Well, Trump is accused of actual rape, too.
Well, yeah, Trump was accused of rape by his ex-wife.
And perverting on children.
And perverting on children. But
that's a big one to get past.
But so is Biden.
Yeah.
With the whole sniffing and stuff. Again, people excuse that away. It's not necessary.
But there have also been allegations of that might be risque underage shit going on.
I haven't seen too much of that as far as
not in the same way that Trump is. Trump is not the contact, but the I'm gonna walk in on underage girls at my shows and in the back and backstage
comment on their
and comment on them, right?
Them. Yeah.
So which is still him. Which is he said he would have sex with his daughter, but oh god, Biden is under the I've actually sexually assaulted 20-year-olds. And so, there's a difference between I've walked into a dressing room of a place. You could make an argument in Trump's favor in this case. Not that I agree with it, but you could make the argument that, he walked in on
sexual assault. Yeah.
If you ignore the sexual assault of adults, and you're talking about how he was walking in on underage girls in various stages of dress or undress, he wasn't touching anybody. Whereas Biden is sniffing people, intimidating people, touching people, finger banging people. By people, I mean women.
It's a lot. I mean,
don't call it finger banging. Oh my god. Oh god.
Oops. Did I ruin everything?
I need that image in my mind.
I think
no, it's tough because go ahead.
Trump will play nice with Biden there. He will try to use that to his advantage.
He's going to use it to his advantage, and he's going to use it to advantage in saying that, well, if it's not a big deal for you, why would it be a big deal for me? And I already won the presidency, so I've got the advantage in this court.
Yeah.
The Republicans have already decided they don't give two shits about women.
Oh, yeah.
But that's
if Democrats do, they really go till the end. They can't just go halfway there. That's
what they're doing. That's what Biden is. Biden is a halfway there candidate.
That's why it seems like for the most part, people are just being quiet about it because it's such a mess. And it leads everybody down a road of hypocrisy that they can't avoid.
Only if you back Biden, and you don't have to back Biden. You don't have to.
This is the game that's being played.
Well, that's the problem, right? So Democrats are presenting it as if they have to. They don't want the other Democrats to know about this stuff, and they're keeping it hidden for now so they can endorse Biden. And then later they're gonna get fucked. But they don't have to. They don't have to pick Biden, who's got all this baggage and has all these problems, and is basically at best equivalent to Donald Trump on a moral stance. He agrees about abortion. He doesn't think women have rights. He sexually assaults people. Where does Bernie Sanders... He lies about being he's basically got stolen valor when it comes to civil rights. Where does that put Biden? Or where does that put Sanders? Sanders has actually participated in civil rights. He doesn't assault anybody, from what anybody knows. I've never seen anything come out about him assaulting anybody. He pushes legislation. He's been able to get legislation through without kowtowing around the Republicans, unlike Biden, who's actually kind of a Republican. He's got the moral high ground to Trump in every sense. Why would you not push Biden, or why would you not push Sanders now and Biden later? That would be your option if that's what you wanted to do. If that's how you wanted to win, and what you really wanted was a more American moderate, which is a Republican light. You would want to put Bernie in position now, and then pull back once you've gotten rid of this Trump problem that you have.
Yeah, exactly. Like, use your best cards now. You need it now, not later, when everything's decided. Because once the race starts between the Democrats and the Republicans, it is kind of obvious who's going to win. It's from the start, it's very obvious who's going to win. Because we know how House of what?
House Commons?
Those who, no. Electoral College.
Oh.
That people know how they think, and we have seen with Trump that they can flip.
Well,
they don't care about how the people have voted.
The risk of
they can flip when they want to.
Sure, but all the people who voted for Trump are pretty much out. Pretty much all of them. So the only
but still,
but
I'm
the problem
that
you're
know
running.
The makeup.
I agree. But
of the
problem
college,
is
when you get into that race, you know who's supporting who.
Right, but you have the other issue though, and the issue is that there's a decent chance that Trump is actually going to get the popular vote this time, because if you put Biden in this position,
and
which he will not get if you put Sanders there,
and Trump ends up bashing Biden in the debates, then yes. He's going to be popular and he will win, unless Biden pulls off some miracle of some sorts. He suddenly comes out and says, "These are my policies for women. These are my policies regarding healthcare, and this is how we are going to achieve it. But we'll still go the bipartisan way and blah blah blah."
Mm-hmm.
That will be great. But so far, he has been just kept in this safe bubble, and he has not spoken out. And that really scares me, because when you have to protect a candidate like that, or when a candidate has to keep quiet like that regarding their policies, it's very scary. It's undecisive, and that's what took the victory away from Democrats last time, and it's going to happen again.
Yeah, some people have a hard time learning from past mistakes, and
Democrats especially.
I think it's like they think they're playing 4D chess, but they're just kind of shitting all over the board,
Yeah, they're like the pigeon.
I mean, there's a strategy there. There's always a strategy. There's a reason they're doing it. I just don't think people are really appreciating those reasons.
I think so. What has happened is people have become sensitive. People have become desensitized because Trump was able to win with all those allegations, and people are like, "Oh shit, nobody cares." So. Some people are in that stage where they're like, who cares? What Joe Biden has got apart from that? Give me that. But the problem is Joe Biden he's not even giving out anything apart from that either. Policy-wise also, he's quiet. So
I know people too are looking to see who he chooses as a running mate. That's a very big, I think people are very hopeful, some of them, as to that he'd pick somebody that was more in line with what they believed, and that would be more of a moderating factor for him. So even though he may not be so left on certain things, if he picks somebody who's more left, people would be more appeased to that.
Yeah, I think so. Why I kind of repeated this again and again. I kind of realized why Obama chose Biden, because he was like, well, he's sort of a Republican. So that's why, and Obama thought that Biden will be a balancing factor with Republicans, but Republicans were like,
no, the issue with Biden and Trump, Biden and Obama was that Biden was a signaler to corporate America that Obama wasn't coming for them.
And that's the game that's always played. And again, I was just saying that depending on who Biden picks as his running mate, will really influence people and really sway people, I'm sure.
I honestly think that America should require that you say who your running mate is before people vote for you. Especially with how much of an influence it has. It needs to be
earlier in the process.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It absolutely does.
Way much earlier, yeah.
Because it does, the older I get, the more it feels like a scam, you know? So I get that. People feeling very disheartened and...
I think,
I still participate in the system because it's the only system we have right now.
Political system.
Yeah.
I don't understand why America is tied to this. I don't understand the lack of the American people just being straight up fuck you and outraged. You outnumber them. You outmatter them. You outnumber the corporations. But your debt, if it's a matter of my debt's keeping me home because I have to go to work, yeah, but you're talking about protesting your own debt.
It's a risk that a lot of people aren't motivated enough to take.
And that's a problem.
It's not worth their time.
At what point? What point does it become enough? Because you're going to have to take it. It already does.
I know, but people don't realize that. I
don't understand this. These are the same people who protested the police in Florida. These are the same people who protested in Florida saying, "No, fuck you. The police have to demonstrate that I'm drunk. Otherwise, I should be allowed to have open alcohol in my car." Where are these people? These are the same people who are like, no, fuck you. I'm allowed to drive all I want with open alcohol. The cops are allowed to do it. I'm allowed to do it. Fuck you. What are you going to stop me? You have to demonstrate and prove that I'm drunk driving. Otherwise, if I'm not, there's absolutely zero reason why the person beside me can't have open alcohol. And they're right. Where are these people? These are the same people who should be like, wait a minute. You can't fucking do this. And also, fuck you. When did Trump start caring about coronavirus? He started caring when his fucking things that he's not related to, being his hotels that he totally isn't doing anything with. That's immediately impeachable. That's against your precious Constitution. The Republicans care so much about the fucking... Yeah, you can. Yeah, you fucking can.
Not in his world.
No. All right, I'm going to play one more clip, and then we'll start...
Yeah, that was another thing that Nancy and her stupid idiot did with the impeachment thing. I'm like, it's
fuck's sakes.
It's never gonna happen. I have no idea.
He should have been disqualified. If he wasn't disqualified for owning hotels, particularly hotels outside of the United States, which should have disqualified him to either one, give it up, or B, give up the presidency, then you weren't gonna get him on anything else. Because that is the most direct violation you could possibly fucking get.
What were you hoping, that the Republicans flip and vote against? Seriously? They were winning. Republicans were in control. Why would they let go of that control?
The saddest thing is that so many people are so disillusioned that there's nothing they can do. You're wrong. Share this video. Share the videos that I'm going to link. Get this information out, because if America decides that they give a shit, if all of the women in America are like, wait, hold on, maybe we don't want a rapist or a sexual assaulter in the White House, there's something we can do about it. And there is something you can do about it. Biden and Trump are not your only options. You have more options. Same with anybody who is a minority. Who was the person fighting for civil rights? And who was the person lying about fighting for civil rights? And who's the person who never fought for civil rights? You can make that change. If you take all of the women and all of the minorities in America, you're not a minority anymore. You've got a quarantine going on. You don't have to be at work. Do something about it.
The thing is that
we've got 20 people. All four of us are here doing something about it, and we've got fucking 20 people watching. 20 people share this video with 2 people? Now that's 40 people.
Yes, please.
Spider that
Fuck.
shit.
Go. And the thing is that it's so like Democrats or whoever support Biden are so desperate that they're using this pandemic to put Joe Biden at the forefront.
Yeah, that was a question we had from Godless Scummer.
They have nothing else in their PR other than, oh, Joe Biden is so sensitive to this, calamity that, yeah, he's going to be a good president.
So,
are you kidding me?
Yeah, so here's the question from Godless Scummer that we had that I noted. It says, I have a question, not to make excuses for the media, but how much do you think COVID-19 has pushed Biden from the front pages? So, like, maybe the media isn't talking about this because they're too busy talking about the pandemic.
A coronavirus. Yeah, it is possible. It's very possible.
To a degree. The thing is that if you recall, the media, quote-unquote, took responsibility for spending too much time covering Trump. And what the fuck are they doing this time? How beneficial is it that we're actually talking about Biden right now, or would it be better to actually talk about Sanders? I like to think that we're helping by exposing some shit and also talking about how Sanders doesn't have these issues.
Yeah, and it's important that both the conversations.
If you've got a candidate with issues and a candidate without issues to go against somebody with a shit ton of issues, who do you think's gonna fare better? I do not understand. I do not understand this electability. This electability argument. It makes no sense. It's the opposite.
The Democrats in the Congress, they act all high and self-righteous in mind, but they are related to the big corporate world too. In some way, somewhere, they are related too. They have their investments too, and they are like, oh, we need a candidate who can silence the big corporate or assure the big corporate. That's why, like you said, Obama chose Biden. That's why Democrats are going for Biden, because Bernie Sanders, he comes out of like, bitch,
fucking over insurance companies.
People are first. You are second.
Yeah.
His attitude is that, and he's very tacit about it. But Biden, he's like, oh yeah, we think about it. He's something like that. So that's why, because Democrats have their self-interest in the big corporate world, or in the Wall Street. They have their little, their stocks and the stock market and the shares. I'm sure somebody somewhere, and whenever they go for campaigns and stuff, they do get donations from all these big corporates. And I'm sure Biden is also getting donations from these big corporates. So they have to cater. Bernie, he raised his fundings from the grassroots, from the people on the ground. He did not take any donations from any big corporate.
Yeah.
So he looked like a direct threat to the big corporate because of that.
Because
he's
he
like,
is.
I don't need your money, so why should I care about you?
Biden has straight up said that if he becomes president, nothing's really gonna change. Which means nothing's going to get better from Trump and nothing's going to get worse from Trump. It's going to stagnate. And what happened with Obama... Right, and what happened with Obama is it created a pocket for Trump to come in. And what's going to happen with Biden if he does nothing, that pocket still exists. You're gonna get another Trump, and that's assuming that it'll probably be Trump Jr. Like, what? It's not even gonna be another fucking actual, like, metaphorical Trump. It'll be another literal Trump.
Don't, please don't jinx it.
Going too far, Tash.
No, listen. Okay,
I have to go to sleep soon. Don't give me these nightmares.
I'm giving you nightmares. Watch this. Let me do my prediction, and I'm shit at this. Here's your options. Biden if Biden gets the nomination, Biden wins, next little Trump takes over. Biden loses, and Trump never technically leaves office. He runs out his time, then he either already has the justices in place to extend his period, which he will do, or he'll cause a war, which will allow him to extend his period. And then the next one up who gets elected is going to be pushed by him, and he's going to get to pick who the next president is. And it will be another Trump, and it'll either be Junior or it'll be Ivanka. And then from one of those two, it'll either be Junior or Ivanka. And then it'll go to the next one, and it'll go to the next one. If Trump gets in, he will never technically leave office. And if Biden is the nomination, Trump will never technically leave office.
Never.
Oh, so many people would say that's impossible. That wouldn't happen, but people said that about him being elected in the first place.
We have seen impossible happen with Trump. So
anything's possible now with the way
it's
things
not that
are.
It's even impossible. It's the pieces are in place for him to do it.
Oh, it's plausible. It's absolutely plausible.
He's getting his judges in there. Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's possible. It's very, very possible.
People saw this from the beginning, like as he was putting his kids in these positions that they weren't qualified for. But it puts them in those positions, and now they're there. Now they're building off of that.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
He has demonstrated that he can. So he's capable of it. So why won't he do it if he has the chance? He will.
I have one more clip for us. And then we'll get our last words in. And let me just swap it. Let me just swap it over real quick, and I will play that.
In which Anita Hill accused Thomas of sexual harassment.
Welcome, Professor Hill.
Thank you.
Can you tell the committee what was the most embarrassing of all the incidences that you have alleged?
Biden was criticized for his decision to allow aggressive questioning of Hill by a panel exclusively comprising white men.
It is appropriate to ask Professor Hill anything any member wishes to ask her to plumb the depths of her credibility.
Determine what your motivation might be. Are you a scorned woman? Do you have a militant attitude relative to the area of civil rights? Do you have a martyr complex? The issue of fantasy has arisen. Are you interested in writing a book?
While he prevented 3 women from testifying about other instances of alleged inappropriate behavior by Thomas. As one Democratic advisor said, Biden agreed to the terms of the people who are out to disembowel Hill. And a fellow legislator said that Joe Biden bent over too far backwards to accommodate the Republicans. Biden even said of Thomas that, "I believe there are certain things that are not at issue at all, and that is his character," when that was exactly what was at issue. Biden has shown a mixture of contrition and defiance about the period, saying he wished he could have done something to help Hill, when the entire point is that he was the very person who had control over the proceedings. He was the chairman of the committee.
She wants you to say is, "I'm sorry for the way I treated you, not for the way you were treated." I think that might be closer.
Well, but I'm sorry the way she got treated. In terms of, I never heard say, if you go back and look what I said and didn't say, I don't think I treated her badly.
Years later, when Biden finally gave Hill a kind of pitiful semi-apology, it led her deeply unsatisfied. Biden also says that he believed Hill from the beginning.
Women should be believed. I believed Anita Hill.
But his fellow Senator Arlen Specter said Biden told him privately that Biden thought she was lying. Now, here we see several Biden traits in one incident. The failure to stand up for women's rights, the excessive deference to Republicans that allows them to get whatever they want, and the tendency to distort his record after the fact in order to avoid taking full responsibility for his shameful conduct. It's not the worst thing he ever did.
And there's the pause.
Yep.
Sorry. That line of questioning. Sorry, Reade, you can start.
Oh, no. Just, it's more of that,
I'm gonna flip out,
wrong.
so one of you go
I'm
first.
I'm sorry that you feel like that there was something wrong. It's on you, though.
He sounded so disoriented.
Well,
like
as if he wasn't responsible. when he was the committee chair.
And it was like as if he couldn't recall what happened or what his own statement was. He looked so confused. Like, but you should have gone back to what I said. You tell us what you said, bitch.
Well, keep in mind, he also said, I think what I said and what I didn't say. I think what Biden didn't say is very important, particularly for somebody who lies about his involvement in civil rights when talking to a black woman who was assaulted by someone, makes her face a panel of old white men judges, and then when they start questioning fantasies...
fantasies. And if you were like in...
Hey, have you like, there's a percentage of women who fantasize about rape as if rape in the reality and rape in a fantasy is the same fucking thing.
Holy guacamole. Like, and the way he was going on, we are allowed to question, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bitch, put your finger down. I was like, how dare you talk to women like that? As if she was a child or something. She's not a child. She's a professor, for God's sake.
And yeah, the questions need to be asked. It is okay to ask questions to get answers on something that's so important. We don't want to see people falsely accused. We don't want to see people go down that way. But it's how you do it. And you should be treating the person coming forward, assuming they're telling the truth. Treat them with those gloves.
With the utmost respect.
And with that charity. That way until you get to a point where then you have evidence that they may not be telling the truth.
See,
then
the
I
thing
can,
is, right, and that should be discussed.
He did not allow 3 women to testify.
He didn't allow.
This was coming from a position of already having your mind made up that you want to quiet this person. It is not looking for truth. It is just straight up.
No women on that panel.
Intimidating.
No women on that panel. He was the chair of that panel, and there were no women on that panel.
And when being confronted with it, he backs off, runs away, or detracts, or deflects. How do you think he's going to treat women in the future? Remember, it wasn't that long ago when Alabama was talking about fining and imprisoning women who went to other states to get abortions because they were going to block them. What the fuck do you think Biden's going to do about that?
Pregnancies and putting them back in the uterus, which isn't possible. A bunch of men who do not know what happens to women's bodies when they are pregnant.
Medically illiterate.
What do you think Biden's gonna do about any of this shit?
So gross.
Women, I implore you. What the fuck? There's no excuse for this. This is an adult. This is an adult who served as vice president in the Obama administration. The Obama administration. Michelle Obama would kick the shit out of this bitch.
And don't get me started on Michelle Obama. I love Michelle Obama.
Oh yeah.
For fuck's sake, I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind. I can't fucking handle it. There's so much wrong with this. There is so much wrong just in this one clip of him being dismissive, of him being predatory, of him allowing the Republicans to get whatever the fuck they want, of him not taking responsibility, of him trying to whitewash and rewrite history the way it makes him look the best now.
Yeah. Discredit the
Why
victim.
the fuck do you think this man would beat Trump?
Because he's not Trump.
Oh, so you're gonna.
How is he?
Well, I'm not convinced of that, to be honest.
Because
he's not. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Give him a spray tan and tell me how he looks.
Not a far stretch.
The only difference is the only difference between Trump and Biden at this stage is Trump howled a lot. Biden doesn't. That's it. That's all it is. And actually, howling works in because he talks about his policies, at least, however vague they might be, but he knows, like, even how infantile they might sound like. At least he does that. But Biden, he's quiet. He's quiet as a...
Yeah, Biden hasn't been active during this pandemic. He has not been active during this whatsoever, like, at all. And it is known that the Democrats have been trying to hide him. His campaign managers have been trying to hide him.
Oh no! Now they have started actually doing PR stuff using.
Right,
if you follow the
but
hashtag Joe Biden 2020.
he's got nothing, on Sanders, especially comparatively. But if you get you've got this situation where
everybody froze. Oh no, way back.
Well, best bet is that he's not Trump. Well, if that's your only argument, Sanders isn't Trump either, and Warren isn't Trump either, and there are far much on the high ground, whereas Biden is kind of equal, but still not Trump, though. So you've got somebody who's shaking everything up and is in a bad way, which is Trump, and you've got Biden who's going to keep the status quo, but still has the same mannerisms as Trump, but isn't as charismatic, which I hate to say because I don't like Trump, but he is charismatic to a lot of people.
He's got personality.
And then you've got Sanders and Warren over here, who have policies, who have standards, who have the morals, and have the following, and have people showing up, and have... Why the fuck would you pick this mediocre piece of shit? This boggles my mind.
He's not even mediocre. Like, way below mediocre, too.
I think you nailed it with milquetoast. I think that
He's
was
milquetoast! What is that white guilt milk toast piece of human garbage?
Tell us how you really feel, Josh.
I can't. The best I can tell you is if I type it in all capitals in the chat, and I will do that. Look for it.
Of course. It's part of it too. People. They're counting on the brand recognition. He was vice president. People attach him to Obama. Everybody's saying they want Obama back, and he was vice president to Obama. So next best thing, of course.
But his policies don't line up, and the policies that he's pushed through.
People aren't looking at his policies. This is America. People are just looking at the flashy things.
America, politics is supposed to be boring. Stop it. It's supposed to be boring.
We don't like being bored.
Fuck's sakes, guys.
Scree.
Fuck's sakes. Yeah, scree. I can't. There are no words.
I'm too tired to scream.
Yes. I honestly don't understand. And it's not that I don't, I understand the maneuvering, and I understand what they're kind of expecting, and I understand why that it, I get it. But when put in comparison, everything for Biden falls through. Everything for Biden falls through. There is no point at which Biden is better for dealing with Trump. There is no point that Biden has a moral high ground to Sanders. There is no point that Biden's policies are more about what the people want. Because, like it or not, even if people aren't voting for Sanders, they're agreeing with his policies.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What the fuck? How do you get to this point? How do you get to this point where you're so lost within your own politics that you are agreeing with the policies of this candidate, but going for this candidate for no reason? Marketing?
They're kind of expecting, it's as if they're fantasizing that Biden will do exactly what Sanders is saying he will do.
Well, it's more like people are visualizing that Biden
with the big.
It almost seems like people are visualizing and separating themselves out, that they do not think that Biden has these problems, or that those problems are not going to be an issue later down the line. They're like, oh, well, Biden is a good central. He'll get along with Republicans and pick up Republican voters. And
he's a Republican.
And the Democrats have to vote for him. All of the Democrats have to vote for him. Otherwise, you're going to get Trump again.
Bipartisan. We have to be bipartisan.
But it's the opposite. You should be putting Sanders in that role, because the people who are leaving Trump are pissed off with Trump, so getting a pseudo-Trump isn't going to get their vote. Picking somebody who's actually going to be like, yo, fuck this Trump guy, is going to be more likely to get that Republican vote than somebody who's more similar to Trump. And if like we said before, the people who are there isn't anybody who's like, oh fuck yeah, Biden. There's nobody who's like that. Everybody's like, oh yeah, okay, Biden.
Okay,
but
Biden.
people are like,
okay, Biden.
fuck yeah, Sanders. So the people who are like, man, yeah, okay, Biden should be the ones making the concession. And Biden also isn't making any concessions. He's not like, you know what, this person, I'm gonna make sure Sanders is my running mate. Or, oh, I'm gonna make sure he's making zero concessions to the point he's going the opposite. He's basically telling the Democrats, as well as Biden himself, are basically telling the rest of the Democratic Party to suck it up and suck my dick because you have to, and not making any concessions. There are tweets going out saying, hey, Sanders, do something about your people to make sure they vote for Biden. This is your responsibility. No, it's Biden's fucking responsibility to give those people a reason to fucking vote for him that isn't, oh, fuck Trump.
Mm-hmm.
People are gonna get pissed at you and they're gonna go the opposite way. Hire me! Give me a job! Let me help you!
If he picks you as his running mate, I'll vote.
Give 4 of us a job.
Is it legal? Is it legal in America for the vice president to be from outside of the party? I know, or outside the country. I know the president can't be, and governors. You can be a governor, but can you be vice president and not from America? I imagine not.
No.
Yeah. Not any loophole I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Fuck your politics. Stop.
Mine?
I didn't do it.
I blame every American person, every individual. I blame you for this. I blame you for this directly.
I don't know.
And the reason I blame you for this directly isn't because I think you voted poorly. I think the majority of American people voted for something that they believed in. And I think that the majority of people voted for good policies that were going to be helpful to people. What I'm pissed at you for is, 1, you're allowing this to go on. 2, you guys are part of the Democratic Party. You make up the majority. Stop letting minor groups of people who are above you make your decisions for you. Stop letting them choose that.
I'm not part of the Democratic Party.
Yeah, so, I'm talking to each individual American here.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers, you're motherfucking America.
There are a lot of Americans that are very happy with the way things are. That's part of the problem too.
I agree.
They want it to all burn down. This is all going exactly the way they wanted it to go.
But listen, that's not the majority. And it's never been the majority.
Yeah. No.
You're America.
But more people are being pushed that way.
I agree. So pay attention.
Talk to your governors. Talk to your Senate. Like your Senate representatives. Bitch, what do you think you're doing? I didn't want Biden. I wanted Sanders.
Well, pay attention for a second. All the Democratic Party has to do is walk away. You don't have to hold to this two-party system. And you have 2 options here. You can essentially cause the Democratic Party, you can give them an ultimatum. You say either vote Bernie Sanders or I'm leaving. And you can make that known to them. You can make your own ballots. You aren't required to follow whatever they decide to ask, what questions they ask you. You're allowed to make your own. And you can make that known. You're the American people. You're motherfucking America. I'm Civil War America. I won World War II America. I did this America. Get your shit together, guys. Why are you turning into a bunch of bitches, a bunch of bottom bitches that are just taking it up the ass from the Republican? You're taking up the ass from Trump. Not even the Republicans. You're taking it up the ass from Trump. The Republicans are taking it up the ass from Trump, and now the Democrats are about to take it up the ass from Trump and Biden. Why? Why are you doing this? You are a bunch of bitches? You're a bunch of, I've got my motherfucking guns and I'm not gonna let the government tell me what I can do. Well, stop letting the government stop letting the fucking swamp tell you what it can do. Because that's what it's fucking doing. So walk the fuck out. There's more of you. You can make this decision. You've got the majority. You can make this push, but you're just like, no, stop being little bottom bitches. Stop getting fucked in the ass. And get your ass out and fucking go do a thing. You're fucking America. You're embarrassing yourself! I don't fucking deal with this shit. You're disappointing me, America! I believed in you!
Oh, that was your first mistake. You mean your expectations?
Listen.
Oh, so many problems. We don't have enough hours to keep going through all the reasons why people suck at controlling their own government. But
Oh, well, I mean, that always happens. That's gonna happen everywhere, but that's not a...
No, shit needs to change. Yeah, people need to get more involved. People need to get better educated.
People need...
Big part of that is education.
You're the American people!
We have states with education systems dedicated to keeping this information down.
You are the American people. Your TV, your media, your fucking politically based media are the ones showing you this information, but what they show you is based on their ratings. If you yell at them, they will put this information out. You aren't yelling at them. You're mad about it. You're 100% mad about it. There is no way that the majority of Americans would not be fucking outraged by Biden. But the American people need to force the media to talk about it. If you think the media is fake news, don't just go along with whatever Trump is saying to call them fake news. Talk about the shit that you want them to talk about and make them fucking talk about it. You're goddamn America. Fuck yeah! Do it! You've done it in the past. You can do it. I believe in you! You can do it! Stop being little bitches.
Sorry, I gotta say, Smitty makes a really good point. The American people, LOL, a herd of cats. That is exactly the problem.
But you don't have to be that way.
Do you realize how high our religion rate is?
But what the fuck
the
does
amount of
religion
people
have
that
to do
cheer
with
on Pence
this?
and think that he's some sort of prophet, for Christ's sake.
What the fuck? How? What is the issue? I can't. Oh no, Bernie Sanders sounds Jewish. We can't elect him.
That's the thing. You say like, oh, the majority of people would be pissed about that. I really think you're overestimating the level of empathy and education the American people have.
Well, I don't think I do. And the reason that I don't think I do is because of the voter turnout for Hillary. The reason I'm not basing that off of a vague I get the feeling of. No. I'm basing this off of the people who are polling for policies, the people who were polling in 2016. I'm basing it off of those numbers, and those people are the ones who care about women's rights. Those people
you have to get them riled up and inflamed about something.
That's what I'm trying to do.
But here's the problem.
With our 20 viewers. Share the video!
Well, so fast. But the problem is, too, a lot of the people who voted for Hillary, and again, popular vote,
which was still the majority, right?
A lot of those people are sworn up and down now. I mean, I'm going by off what I see, but they're just not going to participate anymore. Because, like, we voted, we did what we were supposed to do. She won the popular vote, and we still ended up with a Cheeto. And they can't get over that.
That to me is a lack of understanding of the way the system works, because the system works in.
But that's what they're frustrated about.
I agree, but keep in mind that the system has changed since then. Not in that like the system, it's who's in place. The system itself hasn't changed, but the people in place have.
That information needs to go out too.
Exactly. So keep in
what's the composition of the electoral.
Yes, please
keep in mind. It's a lot of
pieces
that people need to be aware of.
Right, the people who voted in Trump that you voted in to not vote for Trump, who did it anyway, all of those people, for the majority, have been voted out. Those people will not get the opportunity to do that again. This is your opportunity to make change in two ways. Either one, Sanders gets in and you vote him the fuck in and you force him in. Don't let the Democratic Party decide what the fuck you want. You make that decision.
Exactly.
You make that decision, and if they don't do what you want, you fucking riot. You flip the fuck out. You do shit about it. The other option is that they don't do it and you do flip out. So if Sanders gets in and actually makes the changes that you want to happen, the changes that are the things that frustrated you, he's the one who's going to do that. So either you vote him in, or when the Democratic Party says, fuck you, we're putting in Biden anyway, you tell the Democratic Party to go fuck itself, and you make the change by creating a third fucking party. And this is your opportunity to make that change. This is your opportunity to create a third party. And pull in Mitt Romney! Please reward Mitt Romney for not being a little bitch.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of him.
That was a good moment.
If you can hold rallies for Joe versus Roe versus Wade.
Yeah.
If you can hold massive rallies for that, why not for this? Why not for this? Come on. And actually, I think so. It might be radical to suggest, but the American elections.
We have to wait for this virus to be over. We can't really gather in the streets right now.
Where's my
horrible
torch?
Timing is
Where's my
everything.
tiki torch? I think so. The American election should be postponed until this pandemic comes under control, because that's what Democrats are doing. They're taking the shelter of this pandemic and just pushing the most stupid candidate on this planet out in front of the people. And people are so tired right now. They're worn out. It's a pandemic. It takes a toll. Some places are in lockdown. There's not much information being shared around except about this virus. So people are not going to focus really on who gets elected as a candidate for either Democrat or for Republican. So I think so. For me, at this point, this election should be postponed till this whole thing comes under under control.
And the answer to some of the chat about Mitt Romney is that, keep in mind, Mitt Romney, I agree, is shitty and would be a bad president. However, at least he has a fucking standard compared to the rest of the current Republicans who are bending over backwards to suck Trump's dick so he can shit on them.
Oh, yeah.
At least Mitt Romney had a fucking standard and was like, listen, no, this is against the... He's the only Republican who has actually stood with the Constitution. He's the only one. How?
Exactly.
How are the Republicans not losing their goddamn fucking minds? And I don't mean the Republicans in the Senate. I mean the Republican people.
Him up. The moment he went off against Trump in the first election
That's
the
what
primaries,
I mean reward him in the long run.
Scooped him up and carried him to the podium because he showed the balls against Trump.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't mean reward him for his shitty behavior in the past. I mean put some fucking effort into credit where credit is due, because that will encourage other Republicans to stand up for Trump. Republicans like, Paul Ryan, who's somebody who should have ran against Trump. You want to know who ran against Trump? Ted Cruz. Trump had no competition amongst Republicans. Why was that? Because they were all afraid of their fucking boss. The only one who had any balls was Mitt Romney, and the person who should have fucking ran was Mitt Romney, and he didn't fucking run because the Democrats should have been supporting Mitt Romney, and the majority of Republicans should have been supporting Mitt Romney. But everybody's so wrapped up in, but fuck him for this one other thing, though, that you're not gonna fucking work together. This is exactly what Sweet was talking about. Stop being little fucking bitches and get over yourselves to work together for the best good for everyone that you can possibly get. Pull fucking Mitt Romney, get Warren, get fucking Sanders, and start your own fucking party that actually runs on the Constitution. Fuck your country. It's bullshit.
I can only hope it doesn't only fall on deaf ears, but...
I believe in you, America. You can do it. You can do it.
For me, these elections should be postponed until this whole pandemic comes under control, because people are really tired and worn out, and Democrats are taking advantage of that by pushing.
So
Joe
are the
Biden
Republicans, though.
And
the Republicans are going to take
both
advantage
sides,
of Biden.
It needs to be postponed. It should be that, like, if a pandemic comes in, major emergency comes in, it should, all the elections and everything gets postponed. That happens back home in India. Like, if there's a national emergency declared, then everything gets postponed till the emergency comes.
It's tough because
we should do final thoughts.
Yeah.
Sweet, you go first.
Oh, sorry. No, just real quick on what you said about that. I think there's two ways of looking at that. Some people may be all for that. I think it kind of depends what you want. Some people could see as more time for people to gather their thoughts, to become educated on the topics. Other people just see, well, it just keeps Trump in there longer. So I don't know, unless it went into the time between the election and when the passing of the baton
Let
is
Trump
actually
hold
done.
his rallies so everybody going to them gets it.
Yeah.
All the old white people.
That's why I was like, that's why I realized that.
People stop doing that. People stop with using the coronavirus as a weapon. That's just gross. I don't care who the target is.
Yeah, don't do that.
It's gross.
That
don't
was
do
a
that.
joke. Don't do that.
Please
No,
don't actually
Lord.
do that. People are talking about actually doing that.
Oh, don't.
That's still
no.
attempted murder or murder.
I'll personally like, will come here and something like that.
Oh gosh, but I'll go right into it. So, oh man, final thoughts all around. I guess there were a lot of things in Tara's story that were they hit close to home personally for things I've been through. And the fact that so many things were on point and relatable, which I know some other people have said for them too, it to me leads credit to her story. Wasn't there, with these things you always have to proceed with caution as to what you say is true, what isn't true. But personally, I don't see much from what I've heard from her that's a red flag saying she's not telling the truth. I feel comfortable moving forward, assuming she's telling the truth. What that means for everything else, that's for people to decide for themselves as far as how they vote. She even said that how she voted for Obama, and
even though Biden was the
even though Biden,
she
was able to put that aside for what she found is the greater good. She said that while she doesn't support him now and she won't vote for him now, she's not telling other people what to do based on their conscience. And I think that's a really important thing to take away from this, that it's not about saying, hate Biden, you have to vote for Bernie, you have to do that. We're here with our opinions and how we feel about it. For me, I think getting the information out there, something that people aren't talking about as much, making sure that those things are being circulated, those conversations are being had. Because even if, politics aside, this is a learning moment for men and women. These kind of things, when they happen, how to act, how not to act, how to expect somebody to respond to certain things, and how to adjust more than anything. When something's called to your attention that this is wrong, you hurt somebody, you made them uncomfortable, you made multiple people uncomfortable this way, listen to that. Whether you feel like you intended wrong or not, if people are telling you that you hurt them, that's what you should be responding to, and not your intentions, because your intentions don't matter when the damage is already done. So yeah, I just hope people look at this from different angles and take the politics out of it. However you feel about that, I think is really important. Look at the situation first, and then look at the people involved second.
Manya, you want to go ahead next, and then Nikki, and then I'll go.
Well, as Sweet said, that approach this topic with precaution, but I think Tara Reade, somewhere she's telling the truth. That's my personal. It's because she has a very clear description of what happened, and in response, Joe Biden has not. He has made a very vague statement instead of addressing. Maybe he remembers it. Maybe he doesn't remembers it. That's why. But it tells he doesn't care about the other part. Give me that. And if Democrats, now I'm going to give it a political flavor here. If Democrats were so concerned because of his behavior towards women, they should be concerned about Biden too. 8 women have already come forward with accusations. And if we believe the women who accused Trump, we should believe the women who accused Joe Biden. Obviously, we can go and investigate this further, verify the accusations, but how it's done, I don't know how it would be done. But 8 women coming together with similar accounts, that's a very strong statement for me. So yeah, it's Democrats have to walk the talk if they really want to. And this is the time they should. And for me, if we are really going to take these characteristics of your potential candidates into account for the elections, it should be postponed because this pandemic is wearing out people. And both the sides, Republicans, are using this to their advantage. I just realized. But yes, it's important. that Joe Biden, I don't know, he's not as good as Trump and as loud as Trump. So he's going to get incinerated whenever they come face. But coming back to the main topic, here's a woman who's claimed she's been assaulted. There are 8 other women who have had similar encounters. So we need to take into consideration all. And yeah, this should not be brushed. At least investigated. Investigation is needed on this. So yeah, those are my final thoughts.
Nikki, go ahead.
I really think that people kind of ignoring this, and I mean, the facts that Biden has been inappropriate with women have been pretty apparent this entire time. You can literally just go online and look at videos of how just uncomfortably he treats some of the girls that he's on stage with. It's not that hard to see, and anybody who tries to just almost just brush this under the rug like it doesn't matter needs to really rethink their priorities, because like Manya said, he's not as loud and brash as Donald Trump, but he's done just as much to hurt women, and his policies are not good. If we actually look at the policies that he champions, they're not good for women, they're not good for us in the long run. There's maybe a few policies that differ in the grand scheme of things, but we have to take a stand, and we have to figure out basically our priorities in this. I mean, I'm going to call you a hypocrite if you want to call out Donald Trump and then not say anything about Joe Biden and just vote for him. Like, it's not okay. We need to stand for something, and this is the time to do it. And that's all I have to say about it.
So my turn. I'm gonna go ahead and disagree with Sweet. Politicize the fuck out of this. You've got a goddamn fucking sexual assaulter at least running for office or running for the nomination. As a Democrat, as a Republican, that should disqualify you immediately. In no world, especially in 2020, is someone who sexually assaults anyone, male or female, should even be considered for any kind of candidacy in any office whatsoever. This motherfucker shouldn't have been a goddamn senator in the 80s. His treatment of a black woman who was assaulted is disgusting. His dismissal of it moving forward in 2020 is still disgusting. It's being swept under the rug. It's not being talked about. Again, you are the American people. I know you're better than this. I know you fucking care. So do something about it. Make your people talk about it. Make your media talk about it. Tweet fucking at NSNBC. Tweet at Fox News. Tweet at fucking whoever the fuck, CNN. Make them talk about this. Jake Tapper talked to other women. He just hasn't talked to Tara. Why isn't this a complete expose? Why are we the ones talking about this? Share this video. Share the videos that are going to be linked below. My God. What more do you need? Why in the flying fuck would Democrats force their own party to vote between 2 rapists? You don't have to do that. Despite what the media is telling you and despite what the Democratic Party is pushing, those are not, it is a false dichotomy. You do not have to pick between Biden and Trump, despite what they're going to try and tell you, despite what they're going to try and make you think. This is not the case. This is not what you have to do. This is not a necessity. You do not have to make this choice. You are the people. You get to make the choice, the decision. This is what your Constitution is based off of. It's based off against the swamp like Biden is and the con man that Trump is. There are other options. Use them. Take them. My God, I do not know what the fuck. My head's gonna explode if this is if this are the two options that you end up going with and you vote for either of these motherfuckers, I'm done. I'm done.
Shasha's camera is also done.
I can't. I don't even live in your country and I can't with this. I'm more pissed off than you guys are. What the fuck?
Help us, please.
I'm a Canadian. We're usually nice people. Why am I the one being pissed off here? Why are you two more mad? I feel like you are mad and you're just like, well, I'm stuck in it. This is an abusive relationship when you're like, I'm in an abusive relationship. I don't know what to do.
We're used to it at this point.
Well, yeah. The thing is,
life.
it's not shocking to us. We're angry. We have those feelings. We're just not like, oh my God, why and how. We know why and how. It's
I think
just
John
how do we
Oliver.
get there?
I think John Oliver said something about this. He said, "This is the new norm. Don't stop being outraged by it. It's gonna come out every day. Do not stop being outraged by Trump. The exact same way that Trump did this shit, you should be just as outraged that Biden did this shit. And the Democrats should be fucking ashamed of themselves for pushing this fucking asshole.
Walk the talk. Walk the talk."
What? That's it.
I love Shash. She's the angry Goblin Queen today.
So fucking mad. So fucking mad.
No one's gonna listen to her though, because
I mean, I seriously need an animation.
That's a good hashtag. Hashtag never Biden, Sanders or Warren. I don't even give a shit. Just not Biden at this point.
Pick up Mitt Romney, Democrats.
Just stop. The Democrats do not have to do this. They don't have to force this dichotomy. It's easy to demonstrate based on his past policies that are bad for women, bad policies that are bad for minorities, bad policies that are bad for people and individuals, bad policies that are bad for anybody who is lower class or not a corporation, bad policies throughout his entire history as a fucking politician, that Joe Biden is a goddamn awful candidate and he'll have a goddamn awful time. You know what Trump touted? Trump touted, look, I'm getting jobs for all these co-workers. What's Biden gonna be able to tout? Yay, I increased the debt for everybody. A fucking dick. I fucking can't with this shit. What the fuck are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Stop bickering over petty shit.
Everybody's overwhelmed by the COVID that's going on, and yeah, they're just like, what do I spend my energy on the Democratic primaries, or yeah.
I'm gonna come back next. So we have that time of the month coming up next Tuesday, which is when our technical that time of the month is supposed to be, and we're going into incels, and we're gonna cover I think we're probably gonna start off with the comment section on iDubbbz's recent video, which is about his girlfriend starting to sell nudes and stuff of herself, just because I want to look at the comment section and how much none of that has anything to do with the actual content of what's happening, and it's a glorious shit show. I'm gonna have white hair. I'm gonna have white hair for that. My whole head is gonna be white by next week. Just from covering this. And I didn't even go through everything. We only went through Biden's policies on women. We didn't even talk about the rest of his shit.
No, it's a lot.
If you're a woman, I'm disappointed in you if you vote for this motherfucker.
Shush. Oh, shush.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Hell no.
This is why we fought so hard to get weed legalized. We need it.
Hey, remember? Unless you're Biden, who's gonna be like, I don't know if it's a gateway drug. I'm running for senator in Wisconsin when I'm actually in North Carolina.
It's such a dumb thing. I just.
Yeah, he could be not retarded.
He could, yeah. Even as a thing to pander, I don't know. I need to go to bed. It's 1 a.m. and I love you guys, but I'm dying.
Get me the fuck out of here. Steve's going live. Go to fucking his link. We're gonna fucking.
He's like, okay.
Shit ass.
Cheshire?
What are you doing, Steve?
Monkey ape ass. I don't care. Steve's going live. Go check out his channel. We'll be back here next Tuesday at 9:45 p.m. EST talking about fucking incels, because that's going to be better. Ugh.
Yeah.
Share this shit share it and talk about it, and make your Congress people talk about it, and make your news talk about it, and make your Twitter talk about it. I don't fucking... I live in Canada. I'm gonna nope the fuck out of this shit. Alright, we'll see you guys later. Bye!
Bye!
Bye!